What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. We're back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys today over on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. It's fantastic to have you guys here with us one more time on another Sunday morning for you guys, wherever you're certainly watching us from. We got 6 incredible topics we're going to be diving into today. We got some set photos from Daredevil Born Again Season 2 as Kristen Ritter certainly makes a return. We're going to talk about that, maybe some Defenders talk also. Plus, we got some delays when it comes to the Avengers movies. We're going to dive into that. We got some Street Fighter, Voltron news for you guys, and a ton more. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Heyo, welcome to another episode of A-Plus Hero Report. It's your boy, Adam Perez, joined none other than my co-host, Indy Uchiha. Make it this, look, 2 weeks. Don't get me spoiled. Don't get me spoiled, Indy.
Get spoiled, because I'm back.
It's good to have you, man. We don't have Stuart here today. I think something came up for him this weekend, so I do expect him back next weekend, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted. Regardless, we're holding it down for you guys today. We got 6 incredible topics, some honorable mentions, and then, of course, your guys' live viewer questions at the end of the show. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, you certainly can. Just go over to our YouTube page, click on that post tab. There is a live viewer question post for you guys over there. You can submit them. And then towards the end of the show, I don't know if I don't have Indy that long today, but I'll definitely go ahead and tackle your live viewer questions for you guys. So it's good to have you guys here today. What's going on, Indy? How's your week been, brother?
You know what it is, man.
Got you working your ass off over there.
Holly Burton, Holly Berry. You know what I'm saying? What's a Knickerbocker Pacers in for? My week has been very good.
Wait, did the Pacers win?
They're up 2-0. They won both games in New York. They're back in Indiana tonight.
Okay, nice. You know, this has been ever since the Dallas Mavericks, Luka news, all the wind has been cut out of my sails, man. I have not given 2 issues about the NBA this year. Like, I truly haven't. I've done my memorial service. You know, I was feeling some type of way about the Lakers at least making the playoffs. I'm like, if they win a title, I was gonna be really pissed. I was gonna feel kind of salty. So I'm kind of glad that I'm kind of glad the Lakers and Luka didn't get anything this year. But yeah, man, I have not kept up with the NBA finals like I usually always do every year. So I'm gonna have to get back into it because we're getting close to the finals. And it's kind of cool to see the Eastern and Western Conference team. So I need to check it out for sure. The Pacers Knicks is a classic finals for the Eastern Conference. So I should be checking it out.
Yeah.
You seen any good movies this week?
No, I haven't. I've been stuck binging Yellowstone. So I don't know where it came from or why. I think I saw a clip or something and I went and found it. And like, it's 5 seasons. I've been watching it for maybe 4 days and I'm on season 3. Damn, so like the end of season 3. So in my downtime when I'm not at work, it's just been complete Yellowstone for me.
Nice. I like it. I've heard good things about it, man. I haven't checked it out myself, but I'm gonna have to. I think the last movie I saw was Final Destination Bloodlines. I saw that on Monday. I've been wanting to go back to the movies. I'm having a dilemma though. I think me and the girlfriend want to see Mission Impossible sometime next week. But I have a dilemma in regards to if I want to see Lilo and Stitch. You know, there's a part of me that wants to see it just because of what we talk about here on the channel and doing a review and stuff. But another part of me is just like, you know, I enjoyed the animated film, but I only seen it like one time in my life. It's not like I'm not like a diehard Disney animated person, you know? And so I'm like, should I go watch it? Should I not go watch it? It wasn't something that was really on my radar, but I kind of feel like I need to, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I'm up in the air if I want to spend one of my AMC tickets on Lilo and Stitch. I'm sure there's a couple other movies I need to see too, though.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Lilo and Stitch is gonna be there, and I feel like that's gonna get broken down even more than what Mission Impossible is. I think for the page, I think it's more important to see Mission Impossible and then go see Lilo and Stitch later. Lilo and Stitch is gonna be there.
Oh,
and
I
then
see what you mean.
you
Some
always
music.
have a Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? Release a Lilo and Stitch in like 90 days or whatever it's going to be. So I think you got time on that.
The only reason why I don't want to wait too long is I just don't want to get bogged down by all the other summer movies because we're about to get hit pretty hard here this week, I believe. Karate Kid Legends, I believe, drops. I think we're inching closer also to How to Train Your Dragon. There's a lot of heavy hitters that are about to drop in June and July. So I'm trying to pace myself really well here. There's also a Paul Rudd movie out right now, Friendship. Um, a great comedy that I've been hearing really great reviews about, but I have not been able to find it anywhere in my theaters. I'm gonna have to look again on my AMC app and see if I can find um, screenings or showtimes for Friendship. But those are really the only two movies right now, or three movies right now on my radars to try and see sometime this week. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. What I've started doing over our TikTok page, as you can see down below at Hero Report, at the end of the month, I'm releasing report cards for all the movies that I've seen, or at least the top 5 movies that I've seen in the month. So towards the end of May, which will probably be towards the end of next week, I'll be dropping my May report cards, giving you guys my top 5 movies that I've seen of the year, and then whatever doesn't make the top 5, I'll probably just drop on social media for you guys to certainly check out. Let's see here. Before we get into our honorable mentions, let's give some love to people that are joining us here today. You know what, Indy, they actually have a new feature here. It's in beta stage on StreamYard where you can show comments on the page, I guess, during the live. So I guess if somebody drops another live comment, it should pop up. Maybe the live stream will pop up on here somewhere. We'll test it out. I'm going to keep this up and see how this looks on the page. I don't know if it gives me the option to make the size bigger, but as people drop comments, it should pop up on the page too. So we'll see. But Enrique just saw the official trailer for upcoming Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, and will premiere in July on Disney Channel and Disney Plus. Appreciate the heads up on that. Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products, it confirmed that actor Conan O'Brien is joining the cast for Toy Story 5. I did see that, and will be arriving in theaters in June 2026. I thought I did see like a Conan O'Brien on the news type of thing, so I didn't know what it was in reference to, though. The final teaser trailer for The Amazing World Gumball Season 7. Gumball, maybe? Season 7, now titled The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. And it is arriving on Cartoon Network. And then finally, tomorrow, Disney Channel is going to air Phineas and Ferb Summer Marathon with all episodes from seasons 1 through 4, including the sneak peek of episodes of upcoming season 5. Really? I didn't know they were still doing Phineas and Ferb, man. That's crazy.
That's actually dope.
We got Blossom in the house as always. Marcelino's clearly on that Yellow Jackets with you too. Says got renewed for season 4. Is that we say Yellow Jackets? What did you say?
Yellowstone.
So many yellow shows out there.
Yeah, Yellowstone. I want to be a cowboy.
Yeah, is that that's not Kevin Costner, is it?
Yeah, yes.
Is that the one they made with the spinoff too with Harrison? Am I tripping?
I don't know. I haven't got that far yet.
There might be another show for you to watch out there in I think Yellowstone has a spinoff. I could be tripping though. Ram Jam, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you as always. Thank you so much, man. All right. And look, guys, remember, as we go through these topics, these are always just our A+ opinions. We always want to know yours. So as you're watching the show, feel free to jump in the live chat with us, communicate with us, let us know some of your thoughts on some of the topics that we're certainly talking about here today. And we'll definitely have a great conversation and discussions with you. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into our first segment of the day. And we're getting into our honorable mentions bag here for you guys. For those of you who don't know what our honorable mentions is, this is pretty much our topics that didn't quite make our top 6 for the day, but felt that you certainly still deserve to know about it. So we got a couple here. I don't know if Indy, do you have an honorable mention you want to drop or talk about today? I don't know.
Paces in 4.
Okay, gotcha. We got some news in regards to, and this is in no particular order. The BioShock film. Remember when they announced the BioShock movie like years ago? It feels like. The director actually came out and gave us a little bit of an update. The director Francis Lawrence, I believe Francis Lawrence is from just did the Hunger Games movie, didn't he? Yeah, I think he does a lot of the Hunger Games franchise movies. He says BioShock is still in development. He recently told IGN. He says, I just actually got a draft of the script. We have a meeting with the writer tomorrow. At this time, this was on May 7th, so that's definitely a strong possibility as well. He says it's a tricky adaptation, so there's a lot to figure out and to get things right. Their regime changes at Netflix, and so things stall out and get re-energized and stall out and get re-energized. And I think we're in a pretty good place right now, honestly. So he says the new regime has lowered the budgets, so we're doing a smaller version. It's going to be more of a personal point of view as opposed to a grander, big project. So it seems as though it's a now slimmed down version of the BioShock movie. But it's still in development. If you guys, I've never, I think I might have played a little bit of the first BioShock game. It was a pretty big game at the time. I don't know how well it's doing franchise wise now, if it's still relevant at all. But I remember when the BioShock movie was announced. They have a writer and a director, but yeah, it's clearly taken them quite some time here. Are you familiar with the BioShock, and did you play it at all, or what?
Yeah, BioShock was a great franchise for the games that came out. With To be honest with you, with the success of like Last of Us, and I'm even going to say what's the other game with Captain America, the card game on Peacock.
Oh, Twisted Metal.
Yeah, and it says Twisted Metal. I honestly feel like the world that BioShock is in, pre and post, would give for an amazing story. Knowing that Fallout did well, knowing that, what I'm saying, these other genres that dwell into that type of storyline. Because to me, to be totally honest with you, like BioShock, the show feels kind of like Fallout mixed with Last of Us to me, kind of. So it'd be interesting to see that on the screen. So I've been waiting on it. I forgot about it.
Yeah,
because I think it's only been like 2 or 3 BioShock games. It hasn't been a BioShock game in a long time. So I think BioShock Infinite was the last BioShock game. So we'll see what's up. The games are still incredible to play. If you haven't played them, check them out. Really good story, really good mechanics, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this.
We also got some Avatar: The Last Airbender live action news. I think last week we talked about the idea that season 2 wrapped, but they are the turnaround is quick here, y'all. We knew that they had already announced a season 2 and a season 3 at the same time. Filming has begun on season 3. Production has begun on season 3 right now. So I don't know. Maybe they gave them about a week off to enjoy themselves. Maybe promote the idea that season 2 wrapped, but they are now back to work for season 3. I think this might be the last season. I'm not sure. I don't think they've announced it as the last season, but regardless, The Last Airbender season 3 on Netflix is officially in production. Let's see here. What else do we got? The Michael Jackson biopic has likely been moved to 2026. During the Lionsgate Q4 earnings call, CEO John Felterham shared an update on the film. He says, in regards to our Michael Jackson biopic, we're excited about the 3.5 hours of footage from producer Graham King and director Antoine Fuqua, and we will be announcing a definitive release strategy and timing in the next few weeks. I would note that it is likely we move Michael out of the fiscal year, which will impact fiscal 2026 results, and move it into the 2027 slate. So the Michael Jackson biopic is being moved to 2027. We had heard some legal issues or some legal drama surrounding the film. that after they had done a lot of their filming, I think they got hit with a lawsuit, or they got hit with something in regards to some of the aspects of what they filmed wasn't allowed, wasn't going to be allowed to be used in the film. It was kind of crazy in that regards, that for I mean, them doing all this filming for such a long time, you would think that the Jackson estate would let them know what they can and they can't discuss. So it definitely has put a pause on production. I don't know if they're gonna do more shooting, or they're gonna like rewrite some of the script, maybe like the final act of the movie. I don't know, but I think it's definitely one of the reasons why it's being delayed and pushed into 2027, for them to kind of figure that all out. But Michael is still set to debut. Some people are saying it might be a 2-part movie. Who knows? With 3.5 hours of footage filmed so far, we'll see. You might be able to make 2 movies out of that, but that will be pushed to 2027. Next, we got two trailers this week. I'm not going to be able to play both of them. Welcome to Derry finally dropped its first official trailer, which looks great. Set into the 1960s, it looks creepy as hell. Really talking about not necessarily the origins of Pennywise, but Pennywise is definitely going to be heavily influenced, as he certainly is. Was it Bill Skarsgård that plays him? Will in fact be back to reprise his role. I think each season is actually going to be a period piece. I think this starts in the 60s, then they may go back into the 30s, and then maybe into the early 1900s. But really to show the impact of Pennywise on Derry and what it's doing to the children and the people of the town. But if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the trailer, I highly recommend you do so. I would, but Warner Brothers is, they clamp down on that ass for copyright if you try to play some of these trailers. So I'm not going to play this one for right now. But we did get ourselves a brand new trailer. If you want to check out Welcome to Derry. And then Killer for Killers, the upcoming Predator animated film, dropped a brand new trailer. I don't know if did you check this one out, Indy?
I'm looking forward to this. I checked it out after you guys brought it up on the pod, you know what I'm saying, a couple of weeks ago. And this looks good.
I'm not familiar with the animation studio behind it, but I think the animation looks really clean for this. I don't know if it's the same studio that did Arcane. It's pretty clean though. It's got a grittiness to it though. Also at the same time, I don't know if this is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's not quite Mutant Mayhem kind of grungy, but it is. I don't know how to explain it. But it's a pretty cool art style. I've been really a big fan of the Predator designs for this animated film. And then on top of that, this is going to be rated R too, y'all. We got a glimpse of that in the trailer too. Decapitations, impaling. I mean, they're not holding back anything in here. And just visually, they got some great cinematography moments in here that just truly blew me away. This is going to be dealing in 3 different eras, I believe: Vikings, samurai, and then I believe World War II pilot, if I'm not mistaken. But it looks good. Every time I see more and more of it, I'm excited for it. This will be the first animated film in the franchise, dropping June 6th. So check that out, y'all. Check it out. And then one last thing, we did get ourselves a brand new look at Superman this week. I think this was from Fandango, and a brand new exclusive clip, or a brand new exclusive image, I should say. Indy, I saw a lot of people on here on Twitter or social media in general saying this should have been the first look image of David Corenswet's Superman. The first look image was officially him sitting in the chair. You remember putting on his boots with the alien creature in the background. Some people had some flack in regards to that being the first look image, and people are now looking at this image and they're like, this should have been the first look. How do you feel about it? Did you mind the first look? I mean, I think this is a great shot. When I first looked at it, I thought to myself, this is probably like visually the best look at the brand new Superman suit, or just like him outside of behind the scenes clips. When I look at this just screams Superman to me, bro.
This is the first time the suit doesn't look baggy. Yes. So, yeah, do I feel like this should have been the first look? Yes. I feel like the other images should have been like it should have been looked at as like Superman. It should have been looked at like David becoming. You know what I'm saying? Like taking up the mantle is what I got from the other images that they shown. This is the first image of I am. You know what I'm saying? Superman now. So I feel like they missed a little bit when it came to the lead up. Like show us this and then show us David accepting, you know what I'm saying, the mantle and saying, it's my turn, you know what I'm saying, to do this. I actually felt like they should have pieced everything up, you know what I'm saying, with Henry Cavill and have like they should have did like something where like Henry Cavill came and like handed him the cape.
Oh, that
You
would
know,
have been badass.
you know what I'm saying, or something like that, like it's your turn now. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that's how mantles should be passed down, like Power Ranger-esque, you know,
I was about
like
to say
type thing.
that's very Super Sentai, my guy.
Yeah.
Like at the end of every Super Sentai season, they got the new Sentai that like passes the torch to the new Sentai.
Yeah.
That's completely Super Sentai to me, bro. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would dig it. I would dig it.
Yeah, but I'm digging this. I honestly think the movie's going to be very entertaining, but I don't think it's going to be a typical Superman movie. For some reason, I feel like this is going to be like the Avengers. Like it's going to remind me more of a live action animated more than a live
Yes.
action movie, and
Yes.
that's what got me hyped for it.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I was literally watching the '90s cartoon, The Adventures of Superman, with my
Mm-hmm.
son. I think that was the Tim Bruce animated series, and
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as I'm watching it, like, why do I feel like this is gonna be James Gunn's Superman? Like, just
Mm-hmm.
really embracing this, the like it had sci-fi elements, it had fantastical elements. It was just a fun world to kind of be in. You know what I mean? So I think this movie is going to be entertaining as hell. But yeah, I love this brand new look that we wind up having here. I'm really excited for this movie. I think this is one of the better looks that we've had so far from David. And the more and more that I see it, the suit continues to grow on me. I didn't have problems with the suit at first when I first saw it, but I tell you, every time I watch it or see it again, I'm like, damn, this just looks better and better every time I check it out. So, but yeah, that was a new look at David Cornensweet's Superman, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. I gotta say, there's just one thing that I love about the suit too. If I can just gush for a minute, I just really love James Gunn taking influences from different eras of Superman, right? Like people point out the collar, the lines as like the new 52 stuff. The new trunk design a little bit is even from like the All-Star Superman that we wind up getting comic book also. I think somebody also pointed out that the yellow outlining of the S emblem is very was it Max Fleischer from like the old
Mm-hmm.
classic animated series and stuff
Mm-hmm.
from like the 40s or whatever the case might have been. I just love the idea that we're taking influences from so many different versions of Superman in the past to bring this one to life. And it's I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Let's see here. But that will do it for all of our honorable mentions today. I know Indy brought up some names already, but shout out to Kiki for joining us today. Shout out to Bug for being in the chat with us. Blossom says Pennywise again. That dude is creepy. Yeah, he keeps coming back. He's so good at it though. Kiki says I watch all the Predator movies, even the bad ones are kind of good. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're looking for in a Predator film for sure. Some of them are just funny, like popcorn flicks.
Mm-hmm.
Blossom, the Predator poster looks freaking awesome in terms of the art. I mean, geez, oh Richie. Yeah, man. Dang it, I deleted the image already, but yeah, it was a great poster. Oh yeah, we saw that one already. Blossom says, "Holy macaroni, that Superman suit looks tres cool." She says, I gotta admit they're doing their homework here, especially Superman himself. One thing I will appreciate about David Cornensweet, he is a big nerd, dude. He is a big nerd. I've seen countless videos of him quoting Star Wars. He loves the Star Wars
but does he play
franchise.
D&D?
No. No. You can find some really great David Cornensweet Star Wars stuff out there. I think he even did an interview. I saw it just recently too, where he's talking about like what makes you a good person or like what attributes make you a good person. And like his answer is just so Superman-esque. like, dude, you were really born to like play this freaking role. But it's just interesting to see just how much of a big nerd that he really is at heart too. But yeah, guys, everybody, I appreciate everybody's comments here. And yeah, as we go through today's topics, remember, feel free to go ahead and throw your comments in the live chat. We'll definitely bring them up and talk to them. Yes, I'm glad to see that the live chat comments are being brought up on the screen, but damn, is that small? I can't read it from here, but I'm wondering if people are watching us on the television, if people can read it, but that's really small.
I'm right quick.
It doesn't, I don't think it gives me the option to like expand it or.
Nah, I think most people that are watching it are full screen. You know how we're in the whatchamacallit, so we're seeing everything small regardless. So I think it looks better when they look at it.
That's true. I'm sorry, it covers your handsome face, Indy. But
I'm far from handsome. Plus, I think I like messed up my beard right here when I was lining it up, so it's making it look like it's more symmetrical. So we're good.
I got you. I got a haircut this week too. I had to get that fade and clean myself up.
Nah, I could tell you had me jealous.
Although the back it feels a little short, like my man cut it a little short. But it's
nah,
okay.
You make me jealous. I wish I could even grow hair on the top of my head.
We're close to the same age, aren't we?
You're older.
I'm 42. By how much though? How much am I? I'm 42.
I think you're a couple of months. That's all it is. You're a couple of months ahead of me. That's it.
Okay, it's just my Puerto Rican bloodlines. I think like I don't know if I can go bald. Like just thinking about like my uncle and my grandpa. I think my grandfather passed away with like just silver locks. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible for me to go bald or not. But let me knock on some wood so I don't jinx myself.
No, I'm definitely going bald. Spot. Yeah, I'm definitely going bald. I have that John Cena bald spot, and I think it's because I'm genetically predisposed to chicken.
Well, it's because it's because you wear hats a lot. You wear a lot of baseball caps.
Yeah,
right. You used to at least.
Yeah,
just go bald, man.
Nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't be a BH&WB.
I don't even know. I'm gonna have to Google that one. Those acronyms came quick. I'm gonna have to Google that one.
I do own over 90 hats. So
yeah, I just remember you wear a lot of hats, man. That's what happened to John Cena, man. So it's all right. Just don't get hair plugs like him, man. I think the bald look would look good for you, man.
Nah, I got a point at the top of my head. It's not gonna work.
Oh, okay. All right, y'all. That will do it for all of our honorable mentions. It is time to get into our live topics or our 6 main topics today. But we got some incredible topics to dive into, some Daredevil talk, Voltron talk, our tribal chief, Roman Reigns himself joining Street Fighter. We got a bunch of other Elden Ring in the news this week too. So yeah, but of course, starting off, we got some Daredevil Born Again for you guys. As we had season 2 drop over on Disney Plus. Really enjoyable season. Had a blast with it. Had my issues with it, to certainly say the least. But I think most of it comes from the idea of being used to a Netflix series that gave us like double-digit episodes to then giving us single-digit episodes for Daredevil Born Again. And what does that mean in regards to storytelling purposes, or how much can you get out of your storyline? To be fair, for Daredevil season 1, it was a lot of rewrites. They had some content they wanted to keep on from the original writing, brought in a new showrunner, new team to go ahead and sort of rewrite some of Daredevil Born Again season 1. So I'm kind of excited, Indy, for season 2, in the sense that this is going to be sort of this new showrunner's like full time on the show for his full vision of what he kind of wants to do. So any issues that I might have had with season 1 here, I am hoping that gets fixed up a little bit, maybe tightened a little bit for season 2. But we got some great news here because we got set photos. Set photos have begun to emerge for us. As you guys recall, last week we talked about the idea that Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones herself, was in fact cast to be in season 2. And this week we got some official images, baby. She's on the set here. Looks like we got Charlie Cox covering up his costume. Kristen Ritter in the back's like, Jessica Jones is back, bitches. Giving her a nice little wave. She's in the background too. You know, I the first season of Jessica Jones, I enjoyed to a certain extent based off of Kristen Ritter as the character, David Tennant always as a remarkable villain, or just having David Tennant in your show in general is always a win for me. So those were some of the aspects, but it was always a hard show for me to really get invested in, just because it was at times it was a protagonist that I just didn't really like so much. That was really hard for me to kind of connect to, but that's just who Jessica Jones is, right? Like she's a hard ass for a reason. Like that's just who she is. But sometimes it certainly rubbed me a wrong way. But I thought Kristen Ritter did a remarkable job as the character. And so the fact that she's back really gets me excited. Looks like we got them on top of a rooftop here, looking down, maybe doing some scouting, maybe about to do a little bit of attack on some of these anti-vigilante crew, part of the Kingpin's army. As really this story, this season is going to be Daredevil bringing his army together. And the first person it looks like maybe he's recruiting or bringing back from Netflix is, in fact, Jessica Jones. I know it's not much, Indy, but how are you feeling about seeing Jessica or Kristen Ritter back as Jessica Jones in the set photos? Are you muted?
Yeah, I got stuck on mute. I'm geeked. Like I said before, Jessica Jones is one of my favorite of the Marvel TV shows. It might have been my favorite as far as storytelling goes, because it was like one cohesive, you know what I'm saying, story. And it really brought real trauma and like dealing with that type of stuff into the MCU. Yeah, we had people deal with people dying, losing parents, stuff like that. But Jessica Jones went through something totally different, especially from a woman's perspective when it came to it. So him going to get her is because I really believe she's the key to if they bring in the rest of the Defenders they come, because yeah, we saw Mike and we saw Finn in New York at the same time that they're filming. There's no reason for them two to hang out at all, you know. So it might be a cameo or something popping up, but I feel like she's the key to bringing that team back together, because regardless what people thought, I feel like she was the heart of that team.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember Defenders. It's been a minute since I've watched the series itself. I think I maybe watched the last episode of Defenders to get ready for Born Again season 1. Or no, that was when I was doing my rewatch of Daredevil season 3. I rewatched the finale for Defenders to get into season 3 of the Netflix stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I think she might be sort of the key, maybe the one that's, I don't want to say easiest to talk to, but like the lifeline in the sense, like if I can get to Jessica, maybe Jessica will be the one that will reach out to other people. Because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say when it came down to time and the Defenders to make that final push, you know, Luke Cage, I don't think was necessarily on board with things. And the fact that Jessica Jones was kind of siding with Matt, if I'm not mistaken, in regards to them having to go ahead and take down this gang or this organization, and to do it. I think that's where her and Luke started butting heads a little bit. But I think Jessica certainly leans a little bit more to Matt's understanding of how she views the world, or having to take people down. So the idea that maybe he links up with her first, and then maybe she is the lifeline to other people. That certainly could be the case. I definitely do think they have that kind of connection there. But it's really cool to kind of see them back in costume here, as filming, in fact, does continue for season 2. But you did bring up the other aspect that I wanted to discuss, Indy, and that is she may not be the only defender showing up in here. And it's funny because we did talk a little bit about this last week. But over on Games Radar this week, they reported Iron Fist and Luke Cage actors are now in New York. And it's hard not to jump to the same conclusions. The Defenders are reuniting. Now, this isn't this isn't a given or anything like that, but it's easy to kind of put those together. It says it's a Marvel rumor that just won't go away. This is just rumors, okay? This is speculation on our part. It says a Defenders reunion could be in the cards after Christian Ritter's surprise Jessica Jones returns. If you've been following the travel itineraries of actors Finn Jones and actor Mike Coulter, that is, as spotted on social media sleuths, Coulter posted a shot of the New York skyline in recent days on his Instagram stories. Then, when coupled with Jones also rocking up to the Big Apple, has led to fans jumping to the same conclusion. They're both involved in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which is currently filming in New York. This isn't just unsubstantiated noise, however. The first season already squeezed in pointed reference to Luke Cage's new digs at Harlem's Paradise, while rumblings of Ritter's return emerged after she posted her own social media post with Charlie Cox. Right now, all we know is that Daredevil Season 2 is currently filming. Let me see what else it says. But yeah, they also, I'm surprised, did they not go into further details? But yeah, apparently Finn Jones also went ahead and posted something suggesting that he was going to be, that he was in New York as well. And, you know, this actually comes off the tails, too, of Finn Jones over at a recent convention, too. I believe somebody had asked him if he would return as Iron Fist. And he said, guys, give me a effing chance or something like that. Right. Really to kind of emphasize the idea that, look, you know, I can do better. Not necessarily the idea that he can do better, but, you know, I do think it gets swept under the rug a little bit for Finn Jones that, you know, season 1 wasn't that, I don't want to say wasn't that well thought out, but as far as like scheduling, getting people ready, it really rushed itself into kind of production. And there are stories of like Finn not having enough time to like train when it comes to martial arts. That didn't really give him sort of that that standby time to get himself ready for it, and they really rushed production on it. And I think some people would say that's probably why season 1 is the way that it is, whereas I think even you would say season 2 was an upgrade from season 1. So, you know, the idea of maybe giving Finn Jones a second chance, I don't know, is necessarily out of the realm of possibility. But India, I want to ask you here, man. I mean, you hear this. Kristen Ritter's back. She's clearly filming. Mike Coulter in New York. Finn Jones in New York. You think the Defenders are getting back together, man? Or you still feel the same way you did last week, that the idea that, no, it may not necessarily happen?
I don't know if it's going to happen like that. I think you might get a cameo and something. I do believe that what Fisk is implementing is going to affect them as individuals and how they move. Because even though it's like a thing against mass vigilantes or something like that, you know, it's going to go against all vigilantes. They're going to, you know what I'm saying, lock them all into thing, because anybody who does vigilantism or is looked at to be a vigilante is going to have problems moving the way that they move, you know, when it comes to being in New York. So I do think you'll see something of the other characters. I just don't think you're going to see as much of the other characters as we think we are. It might be a season finale thing or a penultimate episode where you might get, you know, them laying the seeds for what will become the future of, you know, this version of MCU television. So I really want to see what happens. I would have liked, because I like where they left off with Iron Fist, you know what I'm saying, with him going to train without the Iron Fist and, you know what I'm saying, learning something different and going into actually the lore, you know what I'm saying, of they dug deep too into the lore of what was going on with Finn's character, and then Colleen Wigg. And, you know, I really wanted to see a continuation of that, so I'm looking forward to that. But we're not going to sit here and talk like the Defenders or Iron Fist was anything like that atrocious Inhumans. Like it was way better than a lot of people give it credit for. I think we were just so bogged down in what was going on in the MCU at that time that it didn't live up to the presentation of what we were getting from like the movies and everything like that. The television kind of hindered. We had a couple of bad seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., some different, you know what I'm saying, some different stuff going on. So everybody was looking at television like it was trash, but they were actually telling good stories. It just wasn't coming off the screen well.
Yeah, and that was right around. I mean, we had already also established ourselves a season or two of, or at least a season of Daredevil. I think we had Jessica Jones. I think Luke Cage even also kind of came out. So we also already had like a idea of like Netflix television quality. And then we got season one of Iron Fist. He says Finn Jones was never the problem with Iron Fist. The real problem was showrunner Scott Buck. He's the same guys who worked on the final season of Dexter and the Inhumans. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff could be brought back to Scott Buck for sure. So a lot of people would certainly say, Finn Jones definitely got not necessarily the best treatment in regards to Iron Fist. So maybe the opportunity of giving him a second chance is certainly there. I hope this happens, man. I really do hope that this happens. It would be somebody find out where Jessica Henwick is. Where's Colleen Wiggs, actress? Is she in New York also? Somebody Instagram check her. See if if she's anywhere. It would be interesting if Finn Jones comes back and maybe he passes the torch to Colleen and is like, no, this is the Iron Fist that you guys want on your team. Maybe both of them come back. I really don't know, but it feels natural to me. Like if they're both in New York, I mean, granted, look, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Like you said, right? Like maybe the idea of bringing Jessica in is the case of like, all right, Jessica's going to be our lifeline. We're both going to approach Luke Cage, see if he wants to join. We're both going to approach Finn or Iron Fist, see if he wants to join. And maybe they don't. Maybe they're like, my time is done. Like, and then maybe this is like the start of a brand new Defenders team. So you're right. Maybe it could be cameos. Or it could be full-fledged, a couple of episodes of the Defenders back with maybe some new members. Like we talked about, the idea of like the Swordsman maybe popping back up. Maybe somebody picks up the White Tiger mantle again. Maybe Punisher certainly kind of comes back. Punisher would be an interesting choice to add to this team if all these Defenders come back. Like, what would Luke Cage even think about working opposite of somebody like the Punisher and kind of the things that he dishes out? I think that would make for some pretty interesting character dynamics, to say the least. So does this mean that the Defenders are fully back? I don't know if I'm going to go 100% there. I would probably go like 60%. I think it's going to happen with new members, but I think it's open. Like you said, they could just be playing as cameos. Maybe they turn down the role to kind of come back in that sense, and then maybe this forces Daredevil and them to find other people to kind of work by their side. But I've always personally liked the idea of them returning, especially because we're entering a new phase of Marvel television here, where things aren't all connected to the MCU, but they still encompass that world. And if we are going back to classic television of like, we want to get you a season 1 and a season 2 and a season 3, like on a yearly basis, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and we've talked about this before, Indy, if you're trying to spin off anything out of Daredevil, and you don't want to give all these characters their own individual shows, I still think Heroes for Hire is open and available, because you still have like White Tiger. You could still add Swordsman to that lineup if you wanted to, also in their own sort of spin-off show, and have another like ensemble cast kind of working together. And so I think this would be the bringing back the Defenders crew and having them fight together. In more than just a cameo, I think would open the doors for an eventual spinoff for Marvel Television, and then be able to create another television show that they certainly wanted to, because we don't have any other television shows right now that have in fact been announced outside of I think Vision Quest might be like the last show that we have right now. So it would be really cool if a Heroes for Hire or something like that. You don't even necessarily have to call them Defenders. Maybe they do call them Defenders. I have no idea, but I think this does open up a great return, a great storyline, and a great potential future for a spinoff show. So we'll see. It's just too much of a coincidence that they're in New York and they don't participate at all in anything Daredevil season 2.
Maybe they were there for the Knicks game. Maybe they're to watch the Knicks lose.
I mean, it does bring out celebrities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It certainly does. So we'll see, man. But yeah, I'm excited for season 2. I truly am. I don't know what direction they're gonna go. I'm hoping, if anything, this wraps up the Kingpin kind of storyline nicely, and allows us to get into a season 3 within another year. I'm just excited for Marvel Television right now, to be honest with you. I think the potential of having that mindset of giving us traditional television in the form of new seasons every year. So we're going to have to wait 2 to 3 years for a brand new season, and getting back to the idea of like the freedom that it has for us to tackle characters that we normally wouldn't, that we can really focus on and not feel so attached to the MCU once again. So I'm hoping for big things come out of Daredevil season 2. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. How do you guys feel about the return of Jessica or Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, along with the potential returns of Finn Jones and Mike Coulter as Iron Fist and Luke Cage? Let us know your thoughts. Or is it just a big coincidence? We definitely need to know your thoughts. Let's see here. Sarav in the house. What's up, Sarav? Appreciate you certainly coming through for us today. Blossom says, in regards to Kristen Ritter, I guess hard women are her best characters. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so too. I think she's really good with those. Marcelino. Oh, we already did that one. Which Daredevil comic do you want to see get adapted next for season 2 onwards? I want to see Shadowlands and Chip Zdarsky's run get adapted. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the Daredevil runs, to be honest with you. While I enjoy the character, I think the only run that I kept up with a little bit was Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev's run. I thought they did. I thought they had an incredible run in that regards. But I personally never read the Shadowlands one or the Chip Zdarsky run. So I'm not. It's not like a comic book I always collected monthly at all to be that familiar with Daredevil. But how about you, Indy? What's your relationship with Daredevil comics? Do you have a storyline that you're aware of you want to see adapted?
I need them to finish the storyline that they're running right now. You know what I'm saying? With Fist becoming mayor, you know what I'm saying, and all that. We're still in the middle of that storyline, and I feel like that's what season 2 is going to complete. After that, I'll see where they're at and see what I'm more comfortable. You know what I'm saying, as far as what I want to see come out of that, because I want to see where these characters stand at the end of this storyline before I go wanting to see what's going to happen next.
I really want the owl. I'm trying to think of other like big name rogues gallery from Daredevil, and they're just, like I said, I'm just not familiar with that world outside of the owl too much. But we'll see. We'll see what season 3 holds, and we'll see how season 2 certainly wraps. No release date yet, but it is scheduled for 2026. So let's keep our eyes open in that regards. All right. And with that out of the way, let's move on to our next topic. We're going to stay in the world of the MCU, if you will, as Avengers Doomsday is back in the news here this week, as we got some unfortunate news. I don't want to say surprising news, but we did know that production, I believe, for Avengers Doomsday has begun. I don't believe that they have stopped production. If anything, we are just currently hearing of delays for release dates. So it could be the case of production has begun. Maybe it's slow production, because I have been hearing rumors and rumblings that maybe the script isn't fully done yet. Like they're writing as they're going along, which I think has worked for them in the past. When it comes to Infinity War and Endgame, I don't know how much of a final script they had during that. I do remember hearing times of like scenes being rewritten the day of sort of mentality. So maybe that is kind of a slow walk for the production for Avengers Doomsday. I'm not quite sure yet, but Avengers Doomsday is in fact getting delayed. Not just Avengers Doomsday, but also Secret Wars. So let's talk about this, Indy, and see if this is to the benefit or the detriment of the movie itself. But here we go. I'll bring up 2 articles because we have one from Variety and one from Deadline. This is from Variety, saying that the Avengers delayed. Marvel pushes Doomsday and Secret Wars to December 2026. and 2027. It says the Avengers will need a few more months to assemble. Disney has delayed the release of both of those films, Doomsday and Secret Wars. Doomsday is now set to debut on December 18th, 2026, moving about 7 months off its original slated date of May 1st. To match the following, Avengers Secret Wars is moving its release date to December 17th, 2027. It says Disney announced both movie delays on Thursday, alongside a sweeping reorganization of its theatrical slate. Notably, the new calendar saw the studio remove several unannounced Marvel titles off its calendar. So yeah, they had a couple of untitled Marvel projects that they wind up removing. With those changes, Doomsday and Sony's Spider-Man Brand New Day are now the only Marvel movies slated in 2026. Also of note, the new pre-holiday December frame for both Avenger movies is the same one that Spider-Man No Way Home had in 2021, which became the franchise's highest grossing installment at $1.9 billion worldwide. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe this now means that Avengers Doomsday might release the same month or the same day as Dune Messiah, I believe, might be sharing that release schedule with them also, which is interesting. We also had another article from Deadline that might have given us a little bit more glimpse in regards to the reasoning behind this. It says Disney pushes the next two Avengers movie dates. It says Marvel's is pushing the release date for Doomsday and Secret Wars. Insiders noted that these two films are among the biggest ever made, and the delays simply allow more time to execute on a gargantuan vision. Given the success that they had in the the holiday time period for No Way Home, this is they're suggesting this is one of the other reasons for the move. So on two fronts here. One, the delay, because these movies are going to be a lot bigger than I don't want to say than they anticipated, but they clearly have a big vision for both of these movies, and they certainly want to get it right. And also, hey, you know what? Holidays hasn't been too bad for us, which might be a good move here. I don't know what other movies are coming out during May of 2026 and 2027. The idea of it being opposite of Dune, I think, I don't want to say a little troubling, because I think they might hold some of the same fan base. They might cannibalize each other a little bit. I am curious if Dune Messiah might move off of that date. But Christmas is always one of those times where a lot of people are out of school, are on holidays. So I think you can have really two big outings for Dune along with Avengers here, in the sense of maybe a lot of people spending most of their holiday time checking out these Avengers movies and grossing as much money as they possibly can. I don't know what other kind of competition they have around them, but Indy, how are you feeling about the delays here? Did you kind of see this coming? Does this make sense to you? Does this worry you at all? What are your thoughts? I think you're muted.
It doesn't worry me. I think I kind of saw it coming. I think it's for the better. Don't rush anything when it comes to this, because from what we understand, this is what's going to reset the MCU. So get who you want in it, get it written how you want it, get everything on right, so we can get past Infinity War and Endgame. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to when it comes to me, when it comes down at the end of the day, is that these movies should be way better than those. So take your time to do it. It allows Spider-Man to breathe. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Doom being an issue, because though they have the same fan base, I feel Avengers is going to feel more important to people than what Doom is. And come on, we're moviegoers. We'll go see both the same day. So we'll go see both the same weekend. So that's not going to stop the movies from doing well. But Avengers just feels like it's a bigger deal than what Doom Messiah is.
Yeah, it's I mean it's been a minute since we've had an Avengers film. This will be the third Dune film also. I don't know if that undercuts it or at all. But people are referring to this already as Doomsday, like they did with the Oppenheimer and Barbie kind of back to back weekend. So they're calling it Doomsday for that weekend. And both of those movies crushed at the box office for several weeks. So maybe you can market it along those lines and really build upon something here to get a lot of people out to the movie theaters. I'm not worried about the delay. If anything, I think this is probably great news for them, honestly. It's not like we have to wait an entire year for the release or anything like that. The idea that's being maybe pushed another 6 months works for me in a sense that, I think a couple things. One, I think it allows you to really work on the script a little bit more, tighten things up from a storytelling kind of perspective and character development. Um, so you don't feel too rushed in regards to bringing this together. And I also think, in a weird way, I wonder if this gives them the opportunity to now include Spider-Man in this movie if he wasn't originally included in this. One of the reasons that Tom Holland wasn't able to take part in this is because of the fact that he was filming for Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. It was just a really terrible sort of scheduling conflict. But now with the delay and them working a little bit longer on these movies, I do wonder if it opens up a window for some involvement from Tom Holland that maybe he might not have been included in previously. I am kind of under the belief too, and I'm gonna throw this out there. We don't know what the script is for Spider-Man Brand New Day yet. We don't know how we've heard rumors that um it's its own movie that takes place during Doomsday, kind of like parallel to the events of what's happening in Doomsday. So I'm kind of curious as to how dependent Brand New Day is on Doomsday happening, or if you can release Spider-Man Brand New Day first, and then Avengers Doomsday can come second without sort of missing a beat. I'm kind of under the impression, and this is just my own speculation, I have not heard anything, that Brand New Day needs to come after Doomsday. So I'm kind of under the impression that Brand New Day may eventually also be bumped as well,
Mhm.
to fall in between Doomsday and Secret Wars again. The fact that they didn't announce it now, though, I do wonder if they're still playing it by ear to kind of see, like, from a writing standpoint, if they should kind of move things or not. But I would not be surprised. I'll just say that I would not be surprised if Brand New Day also gets bumped here within the next couple of weeks. To emphasize the idea that, yeah, maybe these movies do need to kind of come out close to each other, concurrently, or at least parallel to each other, for just plot wise and story wise, for it to kind of all be connected. So that's where I'm kind of leaning. But other than that, a delay for Avengers Doomsday, a delay for Secret Wars, I think is a win for Marvel Studios here. Yes, that means we have to wait a little bit longer, but I would much rather them get this right than get this wrong, because just based off of the trajectory and just how some people feel about the multiverse saga, this needs to be a successful film. Kiki says the endgame visual effects weren't even done until the movie came out. Delay will allow them to improve all aspects. Absolutely. And so I think people want this movie to be successful and to certainly win. And so the delay for me kind of personally works. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
Remember, their goal, what I feel like Disney and Marvel's goal is, they want a best picture. They want a best picture award. They want a superhero film that can win best picture. So let's take the time to put that together, because I do believe you have the story that's going to be there, but let's get Robert Downey Jr. that best picture award.
I want to agree with you, Indy. I just don't know if people will Well, look, we did put um the Oscars have kind of expanded a little bit. We did get Black Panther nominated as Best Picture. Was No Way Home nominated for Best Picture? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
It's just such a rarity, but maybe not. I'm sure they'll probably still like Disney will probably still push for it to be nominated for Best Picture, but I would not mind seeing such a high quality performance from Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom that maybe he does get like a best actor nomination or a best actor nod. I could definitely see something along those lines certainly happening, especially fresh off of his performance in Oppenheimer. I think he won an Oscar for best supporting character or best supporting actor in Oppenheimer that year. So certainly a possibility. I just don't know. The Oscars are just weird to me, man, in regards to not recognizing superhero movies the same way that they do other films. But yeah, if the delay means better quality, if it means tightening up the script even more, not having to write so much the day of like filming for things, I'm completely on board with that. So yeah, those are some of the big delays happening from Marvel, but maybe very much warranted and needed. Kiki says, "Can't believe it's been 6 years since Endgame." That's kind of crazy, man. That's kind of crazy. And I honestly, sadly, Indy, it's been 6 years. Um, and while we've gotten pieces of like where this is all leading to, I still feel like, where are we going with this after 6 years? I know that sounds ridiculous for me to say, but outside of like Doctor Strange and the hey, we've got incursions that we have to deal with. The bigger threat for me hasn't really uh, like culminated the way that I would personally like going into an Avengers movie. Does that make sense? Or am I tripping?
I think we still got time because I think with the Fantastic Four with Brand New Day and stuff like that going out, I don't think the threat has developed yet. Because remember, they're still pivoting from what the supposed threat of
Kang?
Kang was supposed to be, which didn't even feel like a threat because his variants are getting he got a variant knocked off by Ant-Man. He is not a threat.
Yeah,
But
they undercut him a little bit. I saw a theory on TikTok the other day that somebody thinks that maybe all roads have always been leading to Doctor Doom in the sense of them being possible hints that some of the things that Kang was referencing or hinting at in the sense of like there being another threat out there or something coming
mhm,
might
was
be lead.
him trying to stop Doom from being able to get there. But
Yeah.
hey, look, the real threat is Molecule, man. Come on. Who don't know this story? We finna get into something deep if they take this story where it's supposed to go. And I can't I can't wait for it. I mean, we got other threats to worry about. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about them announcing Robert Downey Jr. and announcing that Doom, you know what I'm saying, is gonna be the big new bad is that it takes the it takes the sting away from hearing people like the worry away of things like Galactus. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like Galactus is here, bro, and we're still talking about Doom,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
we know Galactus is here.
Yeah. He might I'm really fascinated to see how Fantastic Four ends. I will say Thunderbolts for me is the first time in a long time where I'm like, I've watched an MCU movie and now I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited for the future and where the storyline goes. Because Thunderbolts as a movie alone was great, but then the end credit sequence, the post credit scenes, I think were post credit scenes done right for the Marvel MCU in the sense of launching us into a future storyline that we know has some sort of stakes and a lot of stuff sort of riding on it. And seeing that post credit scene from Thunderbolts not only has me more excited for Fantastic Four, but it makes me wonder, how were the Fantastic Four even here? Did Galactus prevail in what he wanted to do? Do they not have an Earth? Did they decide to like just come here on their own? Like I am really curious to see what happens in Fantastic Four, and if the Fantastic Four post credit scene will then lead us into something like Doomsday. Because I have a feeling that I think you need a big banger of a post credit scene for Fantastic Four for sure.
Right, I'm with it.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars both delayed. I think financially it'll certainly be a win, and I think storytelling purposes it'll be a win. But how do you guys feel? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And next up, with that out of the way, let's get into our next topic. As we're going to go from the MCU over to more, oh, you know what? Indie. I meant to ask this to you before we even move on, because I don't think we're fully done here. This week, there was a rumor going around as to who the Avengers Doomsday lineup would be. Now, we had the casting announcement and all the chairs and stuff that took like 8 hours or however long it was for the casting announcement. And we also heard that there were going to be more names that were going to be revealed at some point in time also. So the casting announcements are not done. But there was a recent leak this week, or a rumor, take this as a grain of salt, please, as to who the Avengers lineup would be officially for Doomsday. Like when we go to Thunderbolts and we hear Sam Wilson has a team put together, this is the team that they're referring to. Now take this as a grain of salt, but this was some of the things that was going on social media. This was the team. We had Sam Wilson as Captain America. We did know that Joaquin Torres as the Falcon was certainly going to come back. We have Wong on the team as the Sorcerer Supreme. Bruce Banner as the Hulk. Of course, you got your heavy hitters also in Captain Marvel coming back, and Shang-Chi himself. There were also reports that they may, in fact, be trying to recruit She-Hulk to be a part of the team, but I didn't put her picture on here because this feels like the official team that Sam Wilson has kind of put together. This might be, I have to go back and check the Shang-Chi, the post-credit scene, but I think that there might be a couple of these people like Wong, Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel. I think even maybe Bruce Banner was in that post-credit scene for Shang-Chi. Remind me in the comments, guys. So this might make sense in regards to the team that Sam Wilson puts together. Mm-hmm. So this could potentially be the Avengers team. How are you feeling about this lineup, if this is true?
I think you're missing maybe one or two people. I like the lineup, but you're missing Ant-Man because he's the last, you know what I'm saying, great Avenger. He's the one who's writing the books about being an Avenger and everything like that. So I'm pretty sure he would jump at the bits, you know. And I think Sam is the type of person that he would go recruit somebody who has the type of heart, you know what I'm saying, that he has. So he would definitely be trying to recruit him and Wasp.
Do you think Sam might have some animosity that Ant-Man beat him a long time ago, one-on-one?
No, that would actually make it for great comic relief when it comes to that. Could you imagine Carol? Could you imagine Ant-Man? Like, Paul Rudd sitting there and talking to Carol Danvers about how he beat up Captain America, and then her looking at him like, this is the person leading the Avengers, you know, like that type of deal. Because I think he's gonna have an issue, even with. I think the only people that are really down for him leading, if we're looking at this picture, is the new Falcon, Bruce, and maybe Wong. You know what I'm saying? Because we know 9 out of 10 Wong's gonna come to him with a situation, you know. But I don't think Carol's gonna look at him like. The Carol's gonna look like, I'm the strongest, I'm the leader.
I don't know. I think based off of them having that experience in regards to being a part of the armed forces, I think she might respect him a little bit in regards to his paramilitary experience and things like that. So I think maybe from a soldier perspective, you know what I mean?
Bro, she was a captain.
I mean, she is a captain. Get it.
If it goes to that, my rank's higher than yours.
But she's also off world a lot, bro. You know. But yeah, I mean, you might be onto something. Who knows? I would also like to see Black Panther added to this. I wonder if he'll approach Shuri.
If she'll, yeah. I can see that happening. But you got Namor. You got a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Because with Shuri comes Namor. You know what I'm saying? Some other things going on. I mean, we have extensions, but who's gonna be like the core people? You know what I'm saying? That's going around. But the one person I do believe that will not be in this movie, regardless of how we won, unless it's an end credit scene, is Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's maybe an end credit scene too. I mean, I know I talked about the idea of him maybe this giving him time to um them to write him maybe into the movie a little bit. If he does pop up, I do think it's going to be cameo aspect. I don't know if he's going to have a a part to doing it. But
Mm-hmm.
again, this is just the take this again, rumored grain of salt as to the team that Sam has in fact put together. When we talk about Bucky and them from Thunderbolts, talk about the idea of Sam's team. This is what I'm visualizing right now from some of the rumors that we certainly have. Not to say that other people can't join, but maybe this is who he has so far. And this puts us opposite of the new Avengers team
Mm-hmm.
from Thunderbolts minus Taskmaster. Indy, if we have a face-off here, Civil War-esque here. You got your Avengers team. I got my Avengers team minus Taskmaster. If we're not talking about adding Ant-Man, if no Black Panther right now, if these two teams throw down, who you taking?
Carol solos that team by herself.
Who'd you say? What'd you say?
Carol Danvers solos the new Avengers by herself. So it's not anything. You have before. All right, Sam's taking out nobody, because really, to be totally honest with you, I think Bucky puts the hammers to Sam. So I don't know if Sam actually takes anybody out other than fake Captain America. But bro, we have Hulk, Carol Danvers, and Shang-Chi before we even get to the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, there is no way in the world without Bob turning into the Sentry, which he won't because he doesn't want to. Well, he probably will if he sees them getting beat down too bad. He wants to save his team. Without the Sentry, they get mopped. There is no way they even stand a chance. With Sentry there, I still think they stand only a slim, you know what I'm saying, chance, because it's just that Wong teleporting Sentry to a different realm. You know what I'm saying? Shang-Chi's power level, Carol's power level, they have a Hulk. Loki said it best. We have a Hulk. Like, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, I feel like when I look at this lineup, I think Joaquin Torres as the Falcon gets really ahead of himself, and he rushes into battle, and they take him out quick. So then I think it's 6-5, easy. New Avengers against the Avengers. Joaquin Torres is down for the count already as the newbie to this group. But when I look at the lineup, I'm thinking Wong. I'm sorry, Yelena. I'm sorry, Ghost. Boom, teleported to like another dimension. I mean, immediately off the map. So then you got the 3 super soldiers, and then you got Sentry. I'm already having Captain Marvel take care of Sentry, or at least put up a fight for a while. Shang-Chi, I think, would probably, if anything, if I had to put them together in the sense of like who I would want to see take on each other, probably Hulk against Red Guardian. But I think Hulk, look, he might be Dr. Hulk, but I'm sure the angrier that you make this Hulk, the stronger that he certainly still gets. I don't think he's reduced in that regards. So I still got Hulk taking out Red Guardian. I think Shang-Chi, I mean, his 10 rings are celestial, aren't they?
Yes.
So I mean, what are we talking here? I love you, Bucky, but Shang-Chi's taking you out for the count here, my guy. And then maybe you get a couple team ups, Sam Wilson against John Walker. I think maybe this is like a round 2 from Winter Soldier. I think Sam Wilson's a little bit more, yes, John Walker's a super soldier, but maybe Sam Wilson has a chance. Maybe he gets some further assistance from Wong here in regards to John Walker. But I think the biggest threat from the new Avengers is Sentry if he decides to show himself. But even if that's the case, we got Captain Marvel and we got Wong at least.
I think you missed out, bro. I think the fight to watch, like the one we're going to want to see that will actually tear the theater down, is Shang-Chi versus Yelena.
Oh, from like a martial arts perspective?
Yes.
Like
that's what you want to see. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, they're not gonna just knock. I don't think they're gonna knock Yelena off. I'm just talking power level wise. Like if we really wanted to just be rid of these people, I mean, the idea of having a sorcerer supreme on your team is crazy to me. You got one of the most powerful beings in the cosmos, Captain Marvel. You got a guy with celestial 10 rings and one of the best hand-to-hand combat people out there in Shang-Chi, sorcerer supreme and Wong, and a Hulk. Come on, man. What are we talking here? I don't like I don't like the recency bias that we've had because the new Avenger movies is fresh in people's minds and what they're capable of. But come on, we gotta stop sleeping on the
It ain't
Avengers.
even about the new Avengers, dog. It's just that Yelena is that good of a character. She's one of the most well-written characters in the MCU.
Yeah, I do
And
love her.
and if you notice, every project she's been in has been well talked about or has went, you know what I'm saying, the right way because people want to see this character. She's really the first female character that I've seen in the MCU that doesn't catch a lot of slack.
You thought Black Widow did?
Yes, I think Black Widow did. I think Black Widow caught a lot of slack. I think her movie caught a lot of slack. But even when they were talking about the Black Widow movie, nobody had anything bad to say about Yelena.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, she's great, man. I love all these characters. I love the Thunderbolts. I thought it was a great movie. I definitely want to see more of these characters for sure. But I just thought it'd be interesting. Since we talked about Bucky's Avengers, Sam Wilson's Avengers, whether they're kind of looking like, who would win in a fight. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun with that. But yeah. What's up, Sam?
As Doctor Strange pops up in the middle of the fight and tells everybody stop, we got bigger things to worry about.
yeah. Maybe that could be it. Maybe that could be it. And then a portal opens up and you got the X-Men on the other side, and you're like, oh shit, yeah. Maybe we should actually team up. And
right, as they get totally mopped by the X-Men.
yeah, it's gonna be brutal to watch. But yeah, guys, who would you guys have a win in a fight? The Avengers, or as I guess the Guardian would not, or as Guardian would say, the Avengers.
The Avengers with a Z.
With a Z. Who would you guys have? Let us know. All right, guys. With that out of the way, let's move on to our next topic. Where are my 80s cartoon heads at right now? Because we're going to talk about some Voltron, baby. Voltron is certainly back in the news here this week with some good news and maybe some questionable news. It's been a while since we've heard about production for Voltron. We knew that it was currently filming. I'm actually quite surprised that there has not been any leaks in regards to like the costumes, the sets and stuff. First look images. I've been kind of like really anticipating getting to see like what some of these the Voltron costumes certainly look like. Maybe I don't know if they ever made any like actual model size Voltron lines or anything like that. But as an 80s kid myself, Voltron is one I'm looking forward to, along with Masters of the Universe. It feels like we're about to eat good here if you're from the 80s. But we do have some news that's worth certainly talking about here. So let me bring up, first off, let's talk about the little bit of a snag, I should say, that we have here. Some little bits of concern for me in this regards. But as we await Voltron to certainly grace our screens here, according to Screen Rant, it says Voltron's live action movie just hit a snag, leaving Henry Cavill's anime debut up in the air. It says the live action movie starring former Superman actor Henry Cavill just suffered a major setback. After 2 decades of development hell, it appears like the American produced live action Voltron movie is on the cusp of becoming a reality. It says this latest attempt at bringing the beloved franchise to the life on the big screen was announced back in 2022. With actors such as Henry Cavill, Sterling K. Brown, and Rita Ora starring. Despite the genuine talent behind the project, though, fans may want to temper their expectations given recent news. This article itself here says, according to recent reports, Amazon is releasing their Voltron movie straight to streaming, foregoing a theatrical release entirely. the move is not entirely unprecedented, as back in 2024, Roadhouse's remake was also sent straight to streaming. While no reason is given, it may be premature to say whether this speaks to the film's quality or not. It is still a major blow to fans who were hoping to see Voltron's larger-than-life story on the big screen. It says, though fans might view this as a sign that Amazon lacks confidence in the Voltron revival, it's worth pointing out that the previous time this happened, Roadhouse, the result was far from a disaster. Jake Gyllenhaal's currently has a 60% Rotten Tomatoes score and did well on streaming. That a remake is getting a sequel directed by Guy Ritchie. In addition to Roadhouse, the last half of the decade has seen plenty of examples of films intended for the theater end up releasing on streaming service, notably examples like Pixar's Soul, which I've heard great things about, and Turning Red, which was largely relegated to streaming due to the pandemic. It says, while the movie straight to streaming doesn't necessarily speak to the quality of the final product, it could certainly speak to the lack of confidence from the studio that produced it. Additionally, movies intended for theatrical releases are often shot and directed for that environment, including little details that even the best home theater systems might have trouble in depicting. There is a reason many directors don't want fans watching movies on their phones. So there is rumor to suggest right now that according to a report, Amazon is releasing this movie straight to streaming. The good news is, at least, is that filming has officially wrapped. Filming has wrapped. So this movie is done. Voltron's live-action movie wraps filming with promising update for release. So that's what some of the recent reports have said. This is an update literally as of yesterday. This says a live action take on Voltron has been one of the franchises that Hollywood has been trying for a while. It says Voltron debunks streaming rumors with a new update. It says, according to the Instagram page, shared a new message from Bob Koplar at the World Events production team, and when it confirmed filming has wrapped, he says, our live action Voltron has officially wrapped production, and we're thrilled with how it all went. I've been with this franchise for years and can proudly say that this will be the Voltron experience our fans have been dreaming of. And then the article says, as for how the new film is going to hit, the message also seemingly debunks some of the straight to streaming rumors that have been going around the movie, noting that plans have yet to be officially set. Voltron fans can be assured a streaming or theatrical release has yet to be confirmed. He says there's been some chatter out there about the plans for the film's launch, and we'd like to assure you when official plans are set on the film, you will be the first to hear it right here. Stay with us. I promise it'll be worth the wait. So now with the film wrapped, it's time to get ready for its release in the future, wherever that actually is going to be set. So one report saying, hey, this might be straight to streaming, but recently, upon announcing that the live action Voltron has in fact filmed and is wrapped, they are saying let's pump the brakes a little bit. We haven't come up with a release plan as of yet, and let me just say, I would be devastated if this movie was not released theatrically. Okay, I'm just letting you know how I would personally feel about this. When you talk about big mechs and robot lions, and sort of like a space epic opera, that just screams to me visually blockbuster film on the big screen, to be seen in the way that it was certainly meant to be seen. Hoping that there's a great soundtrack certainly attached to this also. When I hear Voltron, a live action film, and you have a star like Henry Cavill, well, to be fair, I don't know if Henry Cavill movies immediately should go to theaters or streaming. I think that's certainly up in the air. But when you tell me Voltron, I want to see this on the big screen. So there's a part of me that just as an 80s fan, as a Voltron fan, I would love to experience this on the big screen. I truly do. With that said, I do think there is a case to be worried here, and concerned here. The fact that the studio isn't willing or ready to announce how it's going to be released or where it's going to be released is interesting to me. I'm glad to hear the great words that they're thrilled and this is going to be a great experience. But if it was that great of experience, why haven't you just announced it on the theaters? Just I don't know. There's not a release date yet, but I am kind of curious about what their confidence level is certainly in this movie. If it gets put to streaming, while yes, and not to say that streaming movies are bad, but it is one of those things where I think it kind of undercuts um, just something of like big giant robots having to be on the big screen. If I got to watch it on my television, no matter how great my home entertainment system is, or watch it on my phone, I feel like it kind of takes away from the epicness that could come from big gigantic robot battles that we would have, a la something like a Pacific Rim sort of thing. So it does make me wonder if they're concerned like visually what the special effects might look like. Maybe the special effects aren't as up to par as they're hoping they would be. I don't know how far. I mean, it just finished wrapping, but I'm pretty sure they've probably already begun the visual effects on this film as they move into post-production. So, man, I am a little bit worried. I know he says, we haven't made that decision yet, but I am starting to get a little bit worried here, Indy. How do you feel about this, though? I mean, do you think if it gets released on streaming, do you think that says something to the quality of the film? Or do you think that there is a chance that this gets released on the big screen?
I honestly don't think that this is popular enough to get released on the big screen. And it's not a Henry Cavill thing, it's a Voltron thing. I honestly don't think Voltron is popular enough that it needs a theatrical release because it's a nostalgia thing, it's an 80 Babies thing. The last I think remake of Voltron was what? Jesus, like 2021 or 2022 or something like that. I was still married in Maryville when that happened. When I was reviewing that last Voltron joint. So it's like streaming isn't as bad as people make it out to be, I would have to say. So depending on what platform it goes to, Amazon, Netflix, you know what I'm saying? As long as it's not on something that like Max or Hulu, Paramount, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, as long as it goes to one of the big two, I believe it'd be perfectly fine. There's a lot of good straight to streaming movies, especially on Netflix, that have done very well. Adam Sandler, I think Will Smith, Jamie Foxx. There's a lot of them who have done it, and it's been good. So why not just go that? Why not go the safe route and not the bad route? Because I don't think a theatrical release is going to do good. Just like I don't think the He-Man remake should have been a theatrical release. I don't think these have enough. I don't think people are aware enough of these franchises for them to do that. It's not like Power Rangers, where they can do a Power Ranger movie right now and it's probably going to do really good in the theaters, no matter how bad the movie is, because the relevancy of Power Rangers. Voltron, He-Man, Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, all that's not relevant right now. Look, they're going to have to pair G.I. Joe with Transformers just to make G.I. Joe relevant. So let's go to streaming. I think that'd be the better bet for this franchise.
I'm not going to not agree with you because I think the safer route probably is streaming. I don't even know what the budget of this movie is right now. I don't think they've made it public. So I am curious as to what the the budget for this movie is. I mean, if we're talking a couple like $100+ million for this, you might be right in regards to um the safe bet would be straight to streaming in regards to like be able to make some sort of money back or not be able to lose that money, because I would be curious as to like what the hunger for a live action Voltron movie certainly is. I will disagree with you in the sense of like um He-Man. I think He-Man has a bigger presence in regards to pop culture than a Voltron certainly does. You are right in regards to like maybe GI Joe, but to be fair, Snake Eyes was not a good movie. Um, and I think if they had made a much better GI Joe, I think the GI Joe brand has hurt itself from keeping it of being a bigger movie than what it is. Whereas I think if He-Man is a great movie, I do think people could certainly come out and say, just because I do think He-Man has a little bit more of an imprint on pop culture than that of Voltron certainly does. So I can see their decision to put Masters of the Universe out, especially if they're confident in what Travis Knight presented to them compared to Voltron. I do want to go to one of the comics here. Marcinger says, I thought Voltron was always planned to be straight to streaming, and I thought everyone knew that kind of going forward. I don't, maybe you might be right in that regards of them being hush hush on it could certainly mean that of it going to streaming. Somebody also pointed out to me too the idea that Voltron wasn't highlighted at all at CinemaCon, and they highlighted the movies that they knew for sure were coming to movie theaters for theater owners. And the fact that Voltron wasn't presented at CinemaCon in any way, shape, or form shows me, yeah, this is probably going to be a streaming service sort of movie that isn't going to be on the big screen. It's just, I think for me, what just feels odd, because you're right, Indy, in the sense that streaming doesn't equal bad movies. We've seen great movies that are on streaming. I just think when I think of visually space, epicness, robots, those big elements feels very big screen to me. That's probably why I feel the way that I feel. But I do think the risk of putting it in the theaters is probably what's outweighing it, and maybe some of the quality, just because I do think maybe like from a visual standpoint, special effects wise and budget wise, maybe this movie's just not ready for the big screen.
Well, even with that, they've thrown big budget numbers at streaming. You know what I'm saying? Before, to make movies and stuff like that. But and for something like Voltron, yeah, it could be a lot of CGI, but a live action Voltron, and me not trying to be funny, I would want to see a lot of practical as well. You know what I'm saying?
I have seen some of the sets that they've built, a lot of practical sets for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to go so CGI heavy, with the exception of maybe spaceships, outer space and stuff, but like set pieces and things like that and big grand scale kind of places. I feel like that's going to be kind of big set pieces, more practical.
Yeah. And you got Marcelino who's talking about the He-Man Universal Revelation and She-Ra reboot and all that stuff. And that still to me was localized in the fan base. If you talk about and what's his name with the podcast that did Jay and Silent Bob, when he talks about it, he was like, yeah, that's something that the fans, you know what I'm saying, went through and had. It's not as big as they wanted it, you know what I'm saying, to be, because he had a big part in, what was going on with that script writing and stuff. I think as core nerds, like as core in the fandom, we see stuff. And yes, it has a following, and yes, it does well. But what would be the global impact? What would be the attachment of them overseas? Would a normal American, you know what I'm saying, who's into stuff like Yellowstone and 90 Day Fiance, you know what I'm saying, get up to go see, one of these movies? A lot of films like Final Destination and stuff like that do well because they're popcorn flicks that you don't have to, follow. A lot of this, these are 80 shows. We're what, 40? 40, 42s. A lot of us in our 50s and 60s who watch these movies. Is there enough of us that can actually take the day off to go support, a film like this, or even still into this stuff to be able to, go and see it. So it would have to be a hell of a press run, hella promotion for these movies to get off. I'm worried about He-Man because I don't feel like they're doing enough to hype the movie up. Like, where's the McDonald's toys? Where's, the little stuff to get the kids interested in it, because that's who is going to make an influx of these movies, work. Yeah, we go watch Avengers and everything, but we know damn sure that it's the kids who want to go see Spider-Man, and stuff jump around. It's just the fact that we can go with them to see this, the kid and us. They're the ones who keep the streaming up on Disney Plus and all the numbers and stuff like that, watching stuff over and over again. So I hope that they target the right market when it comes to these movies in order to get them to go. And on streaming, I feel like you can target the markets you want to better, and you can hide the numbers you don't want to see, and you can inflate the ones that you want to know to say that the movie's successful.
Well, to be fair for He-Man, it's still in production. So they haven't wrapped filming yet in regards to a significant sort of marketing push as of yet. So we don't really know what their marketing plan is. But yeah, I mean, they're looking just like their Mattel toys. So it would not surprise me if they definitely push a lot of action figures out of this film. But we'll see. But yeah, that's the news for Voltron. It has officially wrapped filming. They say that they're really thrilled about it, and they could be. But they just have not released a release plan as of yet in regards to if this is going to be theatrical or streaming. But what do you guys think? Do you think Voltron should be theatrical or streaming? Again, they have not released the budget at all. So if anything, we'll see what the budget ends up being going forward. But yeah, it could definitely hinder a lot of things, but we'll see. Kianis, am I pronouncing that right? Kianis?
Kiki, what's up, girl?
Good to see you in here. Thank you so much. Blossom says streaming to play it safe. Yeah, maybe you do play it safe for streaming. Maybe you a successful streaming movie, get yourself a sequel. You got some great names. Sterling K. Brown is incredible. I love him as an actor. Henry Cavill, I don't know what role he's going to be playing in, but you attach him with some great actors around him, do some big things. But yeah, streaming might be the safe bet here. But from 80s cartoons to some video games, we got the Street Fighter back in the news, man. This is happening, y'all.
No, he didn't.
This is happening, y'all. What? I said Street Fighter.
No, I was looking at the image you put up.
Well, look, it's we gotta pay respects where respects are due.
No, we could pay respects to Raw Julia because he, he's amazing. But the fake Van Damme, nah, man.
All right, maybe this image will be a little bit better for you. At least we have the whole crew.
There we go. There we go.
Street Fighter is back in the news. We are getting ourselves a new live action. It's been years, long overdue. I'm really excited to dive back into this world. Capcom with a live action film. This couldn't come soon enough. But you know how we know it's happening? Because casting is currently underway, as we got some great casting announcements for you guys here this week. Let's go ahead and pull this up. This comes to us from deadline.com. We got some interesting names here, man. Some really great names, if you ask me. From Deadline, Andrew Koji. Wasn't he just in Snake Eyes? Didn't he play I can't remember his name now, who he played in Snake Eyes, but Andrew Koji, Jason Momoa, fresh off of Lobo, Noah Centineo, who was the last thing I saw him in was Adam Smasher and Black Adam, and of course the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, in talks for Legendary's Street Fighter. It says that Andrew Koji from Bullet Train, Jason Momoa from a Minecraft movie, Noah Centineo from Warfare, and Roman Reigns are in talks to star in Legendary's live-action Street Fighter movie based on the Capcom video games. Reps from the studio declined to comment, and the plot of the film remains under wraps. It says they have Bad Trips Kito. I'm just gonna pronounce his name, Mr. Sakurai. Sakurai. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm not trying to butcher this on purpose. I'm just trying to read this fast. Boarded as director, inheriting the project from Talk to Me's Danny and Michael Philippou, who attached themselves back in April of 2023. So it looks like they were either the writers or the directors of the film. They had something in place, but I guess maybe scheduling conflicts or whatever came into play happened here, and they had to hand this over to somebody else. The film adaptation is being co-developed by Capcom, the developer and publisher of the video game. No word has emerged yet as to who has written and who specifically will produce the actioneer. I'm trying to see if there's any announcement in regards to when production begins. I'm not showing anything on when production begins, but casting is officially underway for this movie. Indy, how are you feeling about this, man? You know what? You sent me an awesome image because there have been reports of Roman Reigns himself playing the infamous Akuma. And you sent me some incredible images here of somebody that photoshopped Roman Reigns as Akuma himself here. Some awesome stuff, man. Some awesome stuff to kind of picture him in this role. But how are you feeling about some of the casting announcements that we have? We don't know who these characters are playing yet. I think we already have our Ken and Ryu already cast. So who knows who the other three outside of Roman Reigns could potentially be playing? How do you like this lineup so far?
I love it. I'm loving this lineup. This lineup is flipping amazing. We need Florence Pugh as Cammy. That's like the only other casting, you know what I'm saying, that I throw in there. Maybe give us some Kofi Kingston as DJ. You know, like
that would be dope.
like really get it in, and then give me give me the other dude from the New Day as the announcer. He's the one that announces all the matches and stuff when they're fighting. But out of the blue, with the Mortal Kombat was an okay movie. It was semi-successful as far as it was going to streaming. But with the popularity of the game itself and the fact that it would get a sequel out of it, I felt like you were going to see a Tekken or a Street Fighter come. The casting, if it's correct, with even casting Roman Reigns is brilliant. I mean, the four that got casted here, brilliant to start off with, and whatever roles they're going to play, we already know we got a Ken and Ryu. Great casting for Ken and Ryu if that's what's going to be. Jason Momoa, the fact that they listed him from a Minecraft movie is hilarious to me.
Well, I think it's the most recent, so I think that's why they went that route.
Yeah. Okay. But the popularity of Roman Reigns, who is a generational talent when it comes to wrestling in the WWE. He's literally been a staple of the WWE for probably the past decade. He's been a staple. There's very few people who have been through what he's been through, whether it's health wise, through popularity wise, and been able to carry a brand, because he led WWE into new brand deals, especially through, you know what I'm saying, COVID and a lockdown and all that. He is the next Rock if you're looking from a wrestling, you know what I'm saying, perspective, and how far that goes. And I'm looking for that to see, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with that, and if he could step in. He's been in one other movie I could think of. I think that was Hobbs and Shaw that he was in. Very limited role, but he's a totally different person than what he had now, and I believe he is somebody that could carry this movie what he want as it's going to be. As Blossom says, the next Rock you wish. The Rock has whiffed on like his past 4 or 5 movies. All right. And to be totally honest with you, The Rock has been popular in wrestling, but at the time and when he was there were Stone Colds, there were Triple H's, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. The popularity that he had and what he was doing In my opinion, Roman Reigns has topped that as far as popularity in wrestling, you know what I'm saying, goes. And this is going to be his way to go out and be more, you know what I'm saying, than that. The Rock never had his own Jordan shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like the Rock never had his own bloodline. Like they're literally creating stars off the back of Roman Reigns, and you know what I'm saying, and bringing people in and branching out. The whole main roster is Samoans now because because of Roman Reigns' bloodline. So we'll see what goes with that. I'm really excited about this casting. I didn't think I would be that excited, but like when I saw those visuals, when I actually thought about his mic skills and his acting skills now as a wrestler, and the fact that Akuma really doesn't talk that much, he just beats people up. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited for this movie. I really am. I don't need this movie to be great. I just need it to be fun and enjoyable with some great action, a couple of laughs here or there, a nice little popcorn flick for me to kind of enjoy. But yeah, I do love the casting announcement here. I've been hearing rumors of Jason Momoa as Blanca. I don't know if that's if that'll ring true. How would you feel about that?
And Jason Momoa's Blanca, Cody Rhodes is Guile.
No, let's not bring Cody Rhodes. We're not trying to get the whole WWE roster in here.
I mean, why not? You throw them billions that TKO makes behind that movie, that the Street Fighter all in the ring for promotion. I mean, if you're going to go for promotion and you're going to do it, there is no way better to promote than within that universe. Things do well when they're promoted by WWE.
Give me just looking at the lineup here. Give me Andrew. I would love to see Andrew maybe as like Vega or something like that. I think that'd be pretty badass. I have a feeling Noah might be like Zangief or some crazy shit like that too. I could totally see either of them. I was thinking, yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe Fei Long for Andrew. I don't know, but I think he's just so badass. I would love to see him as like Vega or something like that. I think that'd be pretty dope for him. Those are just some of my castings, just kind of looking at it. But
I love that. I love that. But dude, the Akuma thing you're going to be doing with the Dark Hado, having a fight with Eva Ryu, and you know what I'm saying, and all that. Everybody's going to want that Ryu role.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, opposite of Roman Reigns is Akuma. Yeah, everybody's going to want that Ryu role.
But I really love what they putting together here so far, man. I'm a really big fan of this lineup. It's looking really good to me. I'm looking forward to a lot more casting announcements. I hope that they eventually confirm who these people are certainly going to be going forward. But yeah, man, I think it's a way past time that we've had ourselves a Street Fighter movie. So the fact that we're even getting this in the first place just really makes me happy. Maybe a Jean-Claude Van Damme sighting somewhere. I wonder if he's gonna like pop up in here as like a cameo or whatever the case may be, to play somebody. Maybe not somebody significant from the but maybe like an original character that pops up in here or something like that as a cameo. Would be interesting, just to have those connective tissues. Or I don't know why I'm tripping off of her name, the one that played Chun-Li before, from Agents of Shield.
Really?
Yeah, I'm tripping off her name right now. I'm blanking right now.
Ming-Na Wen?
Ming-Na Wen, yes. She's got to be in this movie too in some capacity. So we'll see. We'll see.
No, she cashing them Disney checks right now. She's not worried about
that. maybe Jean-Claude comes back and he's M. Bison this time around.
Please no. Jesus, no. No, please no. Let him be the person that gets knocked out the way when they beat up the car.
I like it. But let us know your thoughts, just based off of who you've seen so far as some of the casting announcements. Who would you like to certainly see? Oh, Sam says Rami Malek is M. Bison. Okay. All right. I'm not mad at that. Based off of the actors that you see here, do some of your own fan casting. Who would you guys certainly like to see? I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And with that out of the way, let's move on to some other topics here. We got two more we're going to be diving in. As Magic the Gathering is in the news. Netflix announced this a while back, but we do have ourselves an update. It's actually kind of been a minute since we've had any news from Magic the Gathering. I've never been too much into the Magic the Gatherings. Just like I missed that phase of the card RPG kind of world, if you will. But I know it's got a huge following to this day. So the idea that they're tackling this fresh off of the success of Dungeons and Dragons on the big screen certainly doesn't surprise me. But it looks like this is going to be a Netflix and an animated series, if I'm not mistaken. But let's go ahead and dive into this as we have an update in regards to how that's coming together. This is from comicbook.com. Netflix's Magic the Gathering series finally gets an update, and it sounds great. So it says executive producer Terry Matalis, who's also known for working on the Marvel's Vision Quest, recently was speaking at Katie Sackhoff's podcast. Matalis shared that the series, which has been in development for several years, has completed all its scripts and is now moving into the casting and animatics phase. He emphasized that the project will be a CGI project, a choice made because animation is deemed the most effective way to depict the vast and varied worlds and planes of existence inherent to Magic the Gathering's universe, which would be prohibitively expensive to achieve in live action television, at least without an enormous sort of budget. So this is what he had to say about the project himself. Let me get this banner up here first, though. He said, it's not an anime. It's a big, giant, expansive CGI wonderfest. That's how he described it. While also explaining why they chose a specific medium. He says specifically the Magic the Gathering, which has all these different worlds and planes of existence to travel, you kind of need animation to do it because it's prohibitively expensive to do it in a television series unless someone commits hundreds of millions of dollars to it. It's animation the right way to bring it to television. I think, at least. He says at least to start, because it's a tough one to crack, is how he refers to it as. He says Netflix is involved. The writer explained about the behind the scenes process. It's not just Netflix. Netflix has been wonderful, and Hasbro has been wonderful. And there's Wizards of the Coast, which also has Dungeons and Dragons. They're protective of an IP. And I'm like, I need all of you to like what I'm doing, but join hands and say, this is the story we're telling. Because sometimes you see an IP production and you can tell, like, this guy got noted to death and they didn't want to do this and they didn't want to do that. This has to be an incredible experience where everybody has been on the same page and collaborative in a really wonderful way. I mean it. It can so easily not be. He says it might still take a while for fans to watch it on Netflix. He says the episodes are all written, but animation just takes so long to do. Now we are just starting to cast and really hear it and do animatics. It takes a bit. However, he also underlines that animation has its advantages. He says another thing that's really good with animation is that you can write it, then they do an animatic, and then you can watch it and you're like, this scene sucks. I got to rewrite that scene entirely. And then they call the actors back and then they can fix the problem. It's the thing you cannot do in live action unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars. That's just part of the process. So that's a delight. So really great insight in regards to just showing exactly like where the process is, that the scripts are ready. Animatics are certainly underway. They're looking at some of the scenes that they want to do, bringing in some of the voice acting, casting for the voice actors and whatnot. One of the things, I'll let you probably maybe speak a little bit more on this than me, Indy. I don't know your connection to Magic the Gathering or how much you've played it, if you've played it more than me. But one of the things that I will say that stands out to me about this, that I love hearing him, is the collaborative effort that Netflix and Hasbro is really putting behind this. Hasbro, off of what I would deem successful for Dungeons and Dragons on the big screen. I really had a fun time with that movie. I don't know if we're going to get ourselves sort of like another film out of it or not, but I thought they did a hell of a job with that movie. And he is right in the sense that when it comes to Hasbro and the Wizards of the Coast, their CEO over there, Chris Cox, is I think led Wizards of the Coast to be as big as it is. And so the fact that he's really pushing Magic the Gathering to the forefront, and making this work and being a part of it shows me the confidence that they have behind this IP. And the fact that them and Netflix are all on the same page, I think is really important. I mean, we've seen something like the Avatar television series. I can go back to that, right? The idea that originally they had the creators of Avatar, The Last Airbender for the live action series team up with Netflix, but they had two complete different visions of what they wanted to bring to the table. Netflix went forward and did their series, but maybe not so much with as much input from the creators of Avatar as they certainly would have liked or probably could have benefited from. You look at things like One Piece, where all parties were really on board to kind of bring this vision to life, and One Piece season 1 was really successful. So I think it speaks volumes in the sense of how important it is to get all these pieces together to narratively and have the same vision that everybody does to bring this type of stuff to life. And if you could commit everybody to the same vision, then I think you can have a really successful show on your hands in that regards. And it seems as though that might certainly be the case here. So I think for me, while I haven't seen animatics yet, while I haven't seen the script yet, the idea that they have so many people on board is certainly a good sign as to where this series could potentially take itself. But hearing some of this stuff, Indy, how do you feel about how this is coming along? Anything that stood out to you that he said that you wanted to talk about or really piqued your interest? Or what's your level of excitement for this?
I don't expect anything less for when it comes to Wizards of the Coast and their protection of, their prized product, which is, MTG. As a person who's been playing Magic, Friday nights since like the age of 19, building those decks, whether it's Commander, Standard, and going and sitting down with people and playing this game, this card game that led to, playing Pokemon and playing Yu-Gi-Oh! We're talking about the originator here, the lore behind the stories, reading the text in the cards when each set came out to be able to follow the story about what was going on with these planeswalkers and the wars that they were having, with everything that's going on. I've never had a story so deep. There's never been so much lore. The animation for this, even in their shorts that they do when they launch new, bundles and stuff like that, are crazy. And they may only be 2 or 3 minutes long, but you get entrapped in it and trying to see what's going on. Like even with Chandra standing right there with her flames and stuff going off, just man, like I'm so excited, but I'm so wary. I want this to be good because we're talking about Marvel DC level of fandom that this could take off. We're talking about branching timelines, different dimensions, different universes, multiple main characters to be followed, team ups in order to, fight the huge battles. This is a world that we could be lost in for 30, 40 years to go. That's how much story that they have in this. And yo, I can't wait. It's something I never grew out of. Like look, if I took y'all to my closet right now, it's like 4 garbage bags. We're talking about hefty, the big boys that you pick the leaves up with in the lawn. Full of cards. And we're not talking about lands or, we're not talking about recycled tokens. We're talking about spells. We're talking about instants. We're talking about characters. We're talking about planeswalkers, like just full. And I've been watching this as they've been talking about it. and I'm just really wary. Uh, this is something that I probably love more than anything else. Uh, I'm a nerd for this. Like you talk about nerdom fandom. I'm a nerd for Magic. So let's see what they do with this. And to be honest with you, it don't matter what they do as long as they stick to the lore. And because it's so much story to be animated to actually visualize, there's only so much you could do with your imagination in your head to actually see it, you know what I'm saying, come to the forefront. As long as I get to see the story develop and I'm actually able to see what they were trying to get across to me, I think I'll be happy.
I am interested. You probably know more than me. I would be interested. Like, do you start off with a single main character? Do you start this story off with like multiple main characters, and you jump back and forth to their stories? Do they eventually all connect to an epic sort of like climax of one season, a big crossover event after like season 3? Like, I'm really curious as to how you go about kind of telling the story. How would you lay that out if you had to bring this to animation? And how do you feel about the CGI? He says it's not anime. It's more heavy CGI. This kind of feels along the lines of like what you said, like when they unveil new like bundles and stuff, right? And they got like little cinematic stories here. You think that's probably the route that they kind of go on the level of animation, or even bigger than that?
I'm cool with the CGI when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? The details and everything you're able to do with it. But as far as like where they start off with, I wouldn't go with. You start off with the world, like the world itself in Magic is a character.
Uh-huh.
It's the energy from the world that gives these characters the ability to do what they do, to planeswalk, to do everything. You get your energy from, you know what I'm saying, the 5 elements, 6 sometimes that you have, you know what I'm saying, whether colorless, green, red, black, white, blue, you know, like in order to cast the spells that you need to cast. So I would build the world, the planes, and then come see how these people are living, then come into following, you know what I'm saying, individual characters as they cross planes uh uh and meet with each other, and you know what I'm saying, strap up for these, you know what I'm saying, different battles and everything they go. Um, it's crazy, man. Like Lilith. I'm in love with a picture on a card. You just have to. It's hard for somebody who's not into the game itself to understand why we're so into it. It's not even just playing the game. Like I said, the lore, the stories following around. You collect cards, yes, to build the best deck to be able to win more cards, right? But for me, the reason I want to win more cards and different cards is so that I can follow more of the story that's going on and read that text and see, you know what I'm saying, everything that's happening. Um, it's amazing. And their crossovers that they had in the past couple of years, whether it was Godzilla, different stuff like that, have been amazing. And then incorporating those outside properties into, you know what I'm saying, the Magic the Gathering world. So I'm getting way too hype. I'm excited now.
No, it's cool, man.
Just thinking about it.
It's cool,
So
man.
yeah,
They
I'm
they they clearly have big plans. Because I just got reminded that there is supposed to be like a live action Magic the Gathering movie too that was announced back in April of this year that had found a director coming also from Legendary and Hasbro. Whether or not these two worlds would be connected in that regards, that I don't know, but clearly Hasbro has big plans for this IP for sure.
yeah. Let's get to it. Let's see what happens. This is something that I could be 60 and they could finally put it out, and I'm gonna be there, and don't do it episodically. Drop the whole ish at one time, please.
Oh, okay. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Blossom says animation is the perfect route for it. All I ask is that they buckle down and do it right. Marcelina says I used to play Magic the Gathering in middle school, but kind of grew out of it. Maybe I should revisit it. Yes,
You don't
Marcelino,
grow. You don't grow
do
out
it.
of Magic. You do not
Do
grow
it.
out of Magic Gathering. You just suck.
Oh, stop. Yeah, get back into it, Marcelino, for sure. You got to get yourself mentally prepared for this the onslaught of Magic the Gathering stuff we about to have. Blossom says that's true, Indy. The world ain't just a place, as a character you have to fully develop. I guess I didn't see it like that. So yeah, she definitely agrees with your insight. But yeah, let us know your thoughts, man. A lot of progress is certainly being made for the Netflix's Magic the Gathering animated television series. I'm looking forward to it now. Indy's excitement got me kind of hyped for it, even though I've never really been a part of this world. But I love fantasy in general. So I'm open to anything right now.
Bro, it's an expensive world to be a part of.
That's probably why I've avoided it. Like I'm such a comic book collector. Like one comic book is $5 these days. What? Like,
yeah,
bro, I get 4 comics. I'm dropping $20 a week. I'm like, nah, this is crazy to me.
I bought a instant spell that you can cast at any time. You don't have to wait till your turn to cast it. I bought an instant spell the other day, and I bought a set of 4 because I could put 4 each card in a deck, right? For some of the cards. It cost me $120 for them 4 cards.
Ain't no way. So like I can only afford one expensive hobby at a time. So that's probably why I've avoided Magic the Gathering for so long. But that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And then last but not least, I do wish I had Stuart on here too, because I know like Elden Ring is like his thing.
I dig it. But before you get into that, it's 1 o'clock. I do have to tap out.
Yeah. I got you. I appreciate it, Indy. Thank you for sharing your wisdom for Magic the Gathering and all your thoughts on other topics today, brother. Hopefully we'll see you next weekend also.
I'll be back next week. I don't work. So we in here.
All right, cool. We'll see you next weekend then, man. Take care.
All right.
And then last but not least, we've got Elden Ring in the news, which is fascinating for me. Again, another video game I personally have never played. That's one of the reasons why I wish I had Stuart on here. Maybe I'll get Stuart's thoughts on this also. But Elden Ring is in the news. I know they've been having plans to do an Elden Ring, but this week we actually have ourselves an announcement in regards to director has in fact landed for the Elden Ring project. And to be quite frank with you, it's not really one that I expected. Alex Garland is set to go ahead and direct a live action Elden Ring movie for A24 of all places. A24 has now confirmed what's been rumored for weeks, that Alex Garland will write and direct a live action Elden Ring film for A24, video game company Bandai Namco Entertainment. This comes following the release of Warfare, his A24 Iraq war pick, directed with Ray Mendoza, which has grossed over $32 million since opening last month. Released to critical acclaim back in 2022, Elden Ring is an action RPG set in an authentic dark fantasy world, which allows players to head off on adventures within vast environments and dungeons. Created under the guidance of From Software, the game is based on a story written by Martin, author of the fantasy novel series A Song of Ice and Fire, which served as the basis of HBO's Game of Thrones. Oh, I didn't know that the game was based off of something that George R.R. Martin wrote. Look at that. I'm just learning new things today. Over 30 million units have shipped worldwide. An Elden Ring spinoff, Elden Ring Night Ring, is slated for release worldwide on Friday, May 30th. So they're getting a new Elden Ring game. It says 4 of Garland's 5 directorial efforts released have been with A24. 2014's Ex Machina, great film. Before going on to Annihilation, the movie Men, Civil War, and the aforementioned Warfare. Garland has been working as a writer and producer on multiple films in a new 28-year later zombie trilogy for Sony. So that's what he's looking forward to, looking to do next. But look, I've never played Elden Ring, but just from some of the images, it looks like it's a very sort of like, I don't want to say grown-up action RPG, but it looks really clean. Like the animation doesn't look goofy. It looks like it really takes itself seriously very sort of dark fantasy world when I look at images of it. Maybe it's a game that I should certainly play. I think what trips me out here is when I think of A24, I think of a lot of grounded movies. Um, Movies that have some really deep, like visceral action, humanistic sort of characters, um, really tapping into sort of like their emotions. The last two movies I've seen from Alex Garland were Civil War, which really dealt with the concept of like another a legit civil war and the politics that were happening in the United States, the separating of states, people being on different sides, warfare, being an on the ground sort of war movie. Again, very visceral, in your face kind of action, hard hitting, very, very, realistic, um, sort of grounded films. Um, you can even look at something like even though he's working once again on 28 days later now, or 28 years later, even though it's in a world of zombies, it's very much rooted in sort of like the human experience and emotions and the trauma and things like that. So I find it fascinating that somebody like Alex Garland and especially A24 are going to be teaming up for Elden Ring. To me, it it makes it feel like, while yes, this will be in a fantasy world, that the movie itself won't feel as fantastical as I think some would expect. But again, if Elden Rings is meant to be more of a darker sort of fantasy RPG world that takes itself a little bit more seriously, maybe Alex Garland is a really perfect fit for this. His attachment along with A24 to bring Elden Ring to life. While I before didn't necessarily have any connection to the franchise, I kind of now want to see this movie just to see what Alex Garland can bring to the fantasy world, because I just feel like his vision alone um, is something different to the fantasy realm that I haven't really seen before. That I kind of want to see what his vision kind of looks like now. So I think this is a huge pickup for them. Alex Garland is no slouch in regards to name recognition and just the type of like movies that he's going to deliver for you. And if Elden Ring was able to grab Alex Garland, I think this and he's not only as the director but also as the writer too. This just gives me even more great confidence about this movie. So Elden Ring has officially found its way onto my to watch list. I'm really excited for what that could possibly turn out to be. Marcelino says, I'm surprised A24 is making Elden Ring because they normally make grounded movies that are not known for making high octane fantasy movies. I know that's really what really, really caught my eye. He says, I know A24 has made stuff like Death of the Unicorn, Legend of Ochi, everywhere, everything all at once, but those still feel fairly grounded, being filmed in cities. Elden Ring is like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, where there are fantasy elements everywhere with zero references or ties to the real world. I think it's about his vision as a director, really. I mean, especially if he's also going to be the writer for this too. So yeah, while I do think A24 has taken this risk with like fantasy aspects of things before, I feel like a lot of the things that like you said, that you mentioned, still feel grounded in some capacity. And so I think he could really bring that to something like Elden Ring. But I think for me, like just from a visual standpoint, his work always fascinates me in regards to that. So yeah, this has my attention. This one really has my attention. So yeah, Elden Ring has officially found itself a director. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that out of the way, that will do it for all of our main topics. And with that gone, I think you know what time it is.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And with us getting to the live viewer question portion of the show, let's go ahead and get some music going, get some banners up. All right. Let's see here. Give it a minute for my voice to get back to normal. All right. Volume, I should say. All right. So live viewer questions. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question, how do you go about doing so? It's pretty simple. I'll show you right now. Just every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, we will drop a live viewer question post. So just go over to our YouTube channel, as you see right here. Click on that post tab. And voila, live viewer questions posted 18 hours ago. Let's see what you guys are saying here today. Let me go ahead and sort this out. Marky Parko. What's up, Marky Parko? As of May 23rd, 2025, Disney recently released the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch has garnered positive reviews from critics, hailing it as a significant improvement over recent live action Disney adaptations. Many viewers have called it one of the better remakes in a while, especially when compared to the controversial and commercial unsuccessful Snow White film. This positive reception has created a sense of renewed optimism for Disney live action efforts. One notable change in the live-action Lilo and Stitch adaptation was the decision to omit the character of Captain Gantu, instead giving a more prominent role to Dr. Jumbo Jokiba. While the film has been praised overall, some fans might have wondered about the impact of this character change. Do you believe the film's narrative benefited from the increased focus on Dr. Jumbo Jokiba, or Captain Gantu's inclusion have added another interesting dynamic? Perhaps this casting change was a good way to introduce Gantu if the film gets a sequel. Both characters were already established in the original animated film and series. If you were a completely new character just for the film, it would have been more polarizing. This applies in remakes in general. I haven't seen the film yet to give an honest answer. Again, it's been a minute since I've seen the Lilo and Stitch animated movie itself. I've literally probably only seen that movie once in my life. But you know, I'm sure they probably. I would have to go see the behind the scenes and see like what their reasoning behind it was. You know, I know Lilo starts off, I think, pretty heavy CGI with him kind of coming to Earth. So the idea of like not doing a Captain Gantu, I think they probably could have gotten away with it, but you know, maybe hold him off for a sequel or something along those lines. See how the first one does. You know, I don't know what the budget for this movie certainly was either. I feel like maybe it was already pretty big. Maybe the idea of adding Captain Gantu would have added a little bit more to it. I don't really know. I don't know the reason why they didn't add him in here. But if it worked for some people of having Dr. Jumba added, then yeah. But I can't really answer that question for you. As far as like the positive reception that it's has created a sense of renewed optimism for Disney live action efforts. You know, one of the things that we have been hearing is the idea of Disney wanting to kind of take a wait and see approach on announcing any new live action remakes, because they want to see how things like Lilo and Stitch did. We also have to remember they also have Moana that's set to go ahead and drop. I don't know if that's a this year movie or if that's a next year movie. So I think Disney's probably is very much in the wait and see category, but this is definitely a big win for them. I am kind of curious, if anything, if Moana is also successful, if like if they'll have, because if they're both successful, you're probably going to be in the mindset of okay, let's maybe continue to do these movies, but you're probably going to want to reconsider which ones, right? I don't necessarily know if you just tackle every animated movie that you've ever done, but maybe you pick the animated movies a little bit more wisely. I feel like Moana's pretty recent. I don't know where you would go as Disney from there. What are some other big Disney animated films after Moana that you guys think? Just in general, what are some of the other big Disney movies after Moana that have hit for audiences animation wise? Maybe look to those as maybe possibly adapting them kind of going forward, but like the unknown ones, maybe we keep our hands off of, sort of thing. What was, maybe I'm tripping. Hold on one moment. Let me see. Because I know they put a pause on like Tangled. I'm trying to see something. I thought Brave was actually a pretty big film. That was produced by Pixar. Oh, that was by Pixar Animated Studios for Walt Disney Pictures. I was thinking to myself, like, maybe Brave is one that they would adapt. It was released by Walt Disney, but it is a Pixar movie. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, like I said before, I'm not too familiar with a lot of Disney animation, just because I don't want to say I've grown out of it, but I just never grew up with a lot of it too much. So, if there are any other big Disney animated films out there, let me know, outside of like after Moana, because it feels like they're kind of going through their category in order. But maybe there's some big ones that they haven't tapped into yet that they might try and bring to the big screen. AJ, and you got the long ass paragraph. Power Rangers tributes and foreshadowing. Power Ranger franchise is a history of honoring its past and beloved cast, often the poignant tributes, and in some cases, coincidentally foreshadowing. In Time Force's Circuit Unsure, the team's robotic ally Circuit had his memory banks deactivated by Alex, the Red Time Force Ranger, and Wes's future descendant to prevent the Rangers from compromising their mission by knowing too much about their futures. The episode concluded with the dedication to Tui, who tragically passed away 1 month before the episode aired. Ninja Storm Shane's Karma two-parter introduced Shane Clark's Red Ranger Battleizer, a power-up bestowed by his guardian angel Skyla, whom he had once saved. The story gained added poignancy after the passing of Shane's actor, Pua Magasiva, in 2019. Mystic Force's series finale, Mystic Fate, paid tribute to Mashiko Soga by revealing Rita's transformation into the benevolent Mystic Mother as Soga passed away during the show's production. Jason David Frank's legacy and ultimate untimely passing in 2022 was particularly marked within the franchise. Dino Thunder fighting spirit saw Tommy Oliver, after being freed from amber and invisibility, entered a coma where he battled his past Ranger forms to restore his shattered black Dino gem and break free. This episode is now seen as an unfortunate foreshadowing of Frank's death. His final appearance on screen and TV universe was Ninja Steel's 25th anniversary. In this episode, Tommy's Master Morpher allowed him access to his past Ranger form to fight the evil robot clone. While initially criticized for his heavy focus on Tommy, has since become a cherished tribute to his character and Frank's memory. Once and always served as a long-awaited tribute to Tui, depicting Trini's heroic sacrifice and introducing her daughter Min Kwan as the Yellow Ranger, utilizing archive footage and audio. It also honored JDF, who passed away during production. He briefly appeared in suit as the Green Ranger, confirmed his character's continued presence in the TV universe, his retirement from Ranger duties. The special also incorporated brief archive audio of Trini and Tommy's voices, and included with a montage of all 6 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Considering the prophetic nature of Fighting Spirit and the subsequent tributes to Jason David Frank, do you believe there's a deeper, perhaps subconscious connection between the themes explored in these Power Ranger episodes and real life fates of the actors, particularly regarding Frank's passing? Considering the prophetic nature of Fighting Spirit and the subsequent tributes to JDF, do you believe there's a deeper, perhaps subconscious connection between the themes explored in this Power Ranger episode and real life fates of actors, particularly? Not really. I mean, we can go back in hindsight and look at them that way if they want to, but as far as like when they were first originally created, sort of thing, like I think it's all just coincidental. But I mean, I guess you can look at them a little bit deeper now when you go back and you look at them based off of what's happened to some of these actors. But sometimes I think it's like coincidental in that regards. But yeah, I don't really read too much into that, unfortunately. My friends call me Joseph. If I ever had a chance to meet Tom Cruise, my first question would definitely be about his incredible commitment to doing his own stunts. Seriously, whether it's dangling from planes, scaling skyscrapers, or pulling off insane motorcycle jumps, the man seems to defy gravity and common sense for both his films and even commercials. It makes me wonder, does he not believe in stunt doubles, or has he essentially become his own highly paid, incredible, reckless stunt double? It's genuinely mind-boggling to think about the risks he takes. Most actors have happily let themselves handle the death-defying feats, but Tom Cruise seems to thrive on the adrenaline. What do you think drives him to always put himself in dangerous situations? I mean, I do believe that he believes in stunt doubles, but I think Tom Cruise has this inherent like thing inside of him that he just wants to learn. You know, I think he finds things that he's fascinated with, and he literally dives into those things. You know, I see him on the red carpet a lot, doing a lot of interviews for this Mission Impossible thing, and people ask him the question about him doing his own stunts and isn't he scared to do those type of things, and he said, you know, he always battles his fear by gaining knowledge about the thing that he's about to do. You know, he does a lot of research, he does a lot of learning, does a lot of studying, he reads up on things, he learns how to take the steps to execute those things, and then he trains the execution, right? It's not like he's fearful of something and he just goes and does it. In order to kind of overcome his fears of things, he studies them. He dives into the becoming knowledgeable of how you perform these stunts. Where do you start off at? And then you learn that thing. And then once he learns that thing, he moves on to the next thing that he has to learn, so that he's not as fearful as he certainly used to be, because he's mentally prepared himself, not just like from a subconscious point of view, but just from a knowledge kind of perspective. And so he comes across as somebody who not only is an adrenaline junkie, but also somebody who really wants to learn. And if he can learn it, I think he wants to do it. And I think that really speaks volumes to Tom Cruise's character. So I don't think it's the idea of like, I don't want to pay these stunt doubles, I don't believe in them sort of thing. I think it's this inherent idea of like him legit wanting to become knowledgeable enough for him to be able to do it himself. And I think that speaks volumes, man. So I think that's what drives him, just his wanting to know. I think is what drives him to put him in those dangerous situations. So I wouldn't say incredibly reckless stunt double, incredibly reckless or anything like that, because it does feel like he prepares himself as much as he possibly can, right? Like not just reading up on things, but reading up on them, then taking the action to get himself and his body trained for those things so that they don't become reckless. They become, really well executed stunts. That's very dangerous, to certainly say the least, but as well executed as you can be because you have the knowledge first. I think that's important. Blossom, have you guys met any Rangers in real life? I did. I met Johnny Young Bosch a couple years ago. I have a crush on him, but surprisingly, I didn't spaz out. Good on you. Good on you, Blossom. Though my cheeks were just as red as Jason's MMPR suit. It was one heck of experience. What was it like when you met any of the Rangers? Do I have a... I used to have some images. Yeah, hold on a second. Had to go into... Do I make sure my camera's still working? Who did I meet? Oh yeah, I had a couple. These are so old though. I should have taken them out of their protected cover slips a long time ago. But for me, I did get the chance to meet Austin St. John once, got his signature. Got a chance to interview him a long time ago. Johnny Young Bosch also briefly. Got a signature at least, got a chance to meet him. Oh yeah, good old Aisha. I met her like twice. At a couple conventions. Had the opportunity to interview her once or twice also. I met the SPD gang briefly. So that was pretty cool. Got a couple of their signatures too. There is one I'm missing. Yeah, there is another one I'm missing. I don't know where it's at right now. I had another one. I don't know where it went. But it was a group picture of myself, Aaron Cahill, who played Jen from Time Force, one of my biggest like Power Ranger crushes out there. I think Catherine was in the photo too. Catherine Sutherland. JDF was in the photo. Jason Fount was in the photo. And Michael from Time Force. Was he Time Force Blue? Yeah, Time Force Blue. It was a group image of us. I think I was between... No. It wasn't Catherine. It was... Is it Allison from... I think it was Allison from Lightspeed Rescue. So it was me in between Allison and Aaron. And then I think it was JDF in the middle on the ground in front of me, Jason, and then Michael. I can't remember Michael's last name, but I did have a picture of all of us together in a big group photo. I think I happened to like a Houston convention one year. But it's always been a really great experience. I don't know if I've ever had a bad experience meeting any Power Rangers at all. I think they've all been great, regardless of what they may be like in like real life. I've always had a great experience meeting Power Rangers for sure. Peg C. George Wendt, who was most known for playing Norm on Cheers and the dad of Macaulay Culkin in the Michael Jackson movie. That's right, he did play in the black and white music video, has passed away. What are your thoughts? Yeah, you know, I outside of those two things, I didn't know too much about George Wendt. but growing up, Cheers was always that show, along with like Night Court, that I felt were like on. I don't know if it was on Nick at Night or they would just like come on late. That it would be those shows that, as you know, as I'm just laying down, you just kind of keep on and just kind of watch in the background, sort of thing. But Norm was always funny to me. Norm was always great on Cheers. It's where everybody knows your name. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to really dig Cheers. It was always a fun show for me to watch. But outside of just seeing him, he looked like he was a funny guy. Looked like he was a cool guy. I didn't know about him personally, but definitely gonna be missed, I'm sure. Unfortunate for sure. What are your thoughts on Netflix picking up Sesame Street worldwide streaming rights after the Max deal ends? I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited. Look, Sesame Street to the masses, please. You know, I grew up on Sesame Street. My son is now watching Sesame Street. You know, I think there are just certain shows that are just pillars for children to understand not only how to learn your ABCs, but also just being a decent human being. You know, there's a lot of politics, unfortunately, that's happening in regards to trying to shut down public television. You know, yeah, I don't want to get too heavy into politics, but you do have a current administration that's trying to shut things down, like free speech and NPR and certain news outlets, and now they're trying to go for public service television, public broadcasting stations, trying to shut down things like PBS, and really, I don't like why they do these things. I don't know, but to me, especially as somebody that has a kid, I don't want to hinder the growth of a young generation to grow up and understand just how to accept people for who they are, how to meet people and socialize, and how to learn. I think if you want a really great foundation for your society on how to live amongst each other, how to accept people for who they are, how to just literally get along, I think you need things like PBS, I think they've done great for me as a person. I think I've learned how to live in society because of the values and stuff instilled in me as a young kid, watching things like a Mr. Rogers and like a Sesame Street. And it would be a real shame if people had the opportunity to shut those things down or take them away from us, And so, the idea that now, regardless of what happens with PBS, Sesame Street continues to live on in some capacity. I think if you can get things like Sesame Street in front of millions of people and more people, I think is just a win, man. It's just a win. So I'm glad that this deal is certainly happening. Roman Reigns is reportedly to talks to portray Akuma in Street Fighter. What are your thoughts? I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I don't need an Oscar winner here. I don't think he's a strong actor by any stretch of the imagination, but I need Roman Reigns to kick some people's asses. And if his role as Akuma allows him to do that silently and just emote, then yeah, why not? I know we harp on the classic Street Fighter movie about like how cheesy it was. I wonder if it's been years since I've watched it, but I wonder if the cheese factor comes from the idea that like they maybe took themselves too seriously and the production and the story of it just didn't translate into taking itself seriously. So I am kind of curious, especially after something like Mortal Kombat, how they decide to tackle Street Fighter. If they don't take themselves too seriously and they legit just have fun, focus on a pretty simple storyline, don't worry about big key performances, but maybe still be able to tap into some important key character elements to it with some incredible fighting and directing and stuff. then yeah, I think you might have a great little popcorn flick on here that people can sit back and really enjoy, and look forward to more. The most talented man in the world. The ending of Final Destination 5 delivered a surprising twist, revealing itself to be a prequel to the original film. Throughout its runtime, the movie clearly avoided any direct hints about its chronological placement or reference to previous installments. The sole subtle clue was the protagonist Sam being offered a chef apprenticeship in Paris by his restaurant boss. The major reveal occurred when Sam and his girlfriend boarded a plane, which was then shockingly identified as Flight 180, the ill-fated flight from the first Final Destination. The film further solidified this connection by incorporating archival footage of Alex and Carter, two characters from the original film, fighting. The only significant criticism leveled against Final Destination 5 was its utilization of 3D, a cinematic trend prevalent in 2011, and a significant turnaround for the franchise. The sixth installment, Bloodlines, has achieved critical acclaim because the first film in the series to garner positive reviews. This marked Tony Todd's final appearance before his untimely passing. This marks a new chapter for the Final Destination saga, potentially indicating a fresh direction, especially since fans have anticipated the sixth installment since it was teased during the pandemic by Craig Perry, who produced the entire franchise. Given the critical success of Bloodlines, do you think Perry and the creative team behind Bloodlines learned from the previous 5 installments, perhaps even the prequel strength, to craft the more intense and well-received sixth entry? It seems that way here, especially hearing them in interviews and stuff. Again, I feel like I'm new to the Final Destination franchise again. Outside of maybe watching the first 2 movies, I don't believe I've really kept up with the franchise very much. I've kind of fell off of it, but I did get the opportunity to see Bloodlines, and it was a fun popcorn film. You know, it was a fun little film. I don't say it was the best, like acting wise. I did not really care for it so much, but I kind of dug some of the storyline elements in regards to like um Breck Basinger's main character and stuff. Like the opening sequence I thought was actually pretty cool for this movie. Seeing how that played into the overall theme of like the premonitions and whatnot kind of really worked for me. Seeing the idea of like the other timelines and stuff branching out of, you know, people that survived that day, and how it kind of all played into the overall theme of the movie. I thought that was pretty cool. Some really gnarly deaths sort of thing, but it's not a movie like, again, it didn't blow me away or anything like that, but from a critical acclaim perspective, I enjoyed it because I found it fun and the deaths were gnarly. Yeah, I thought they had a nice sort of footing for a story that didn't seem too boring. I found myself somewhat invested for sure, but certainly lacking in other areas. So I wouldn't write home about it so much, but if people are just looking for a reliable Final Destination film that has its really gnarly death scenes and enjoyable moments, then yeah, I would certainly recommend it. But yeah, I think they're definitely going to build upon this for sure. I mean, how do you not? But yeah, that's what you're supposed to do as a creative team. You're supposed to find the strengths that certainly worked in the past, remove the weaknesses, take into account some of the complaints that people have, and then you branch off from there and you try and create something solid, but also creatively fresh in regards to the route that you take. So I think they'll certainly learn their lesson. Jessica Fryman, do you think we will learn more about the new Power Ranger reboot soon? And you think we'll get a 6th season of Harley Quinn? And would you like to see a live action version of the Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir? You know what? I'm not too familiar with the Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, but I have seen images of it. And why not? I'll say why not. That's all I'll say. I don't know too much about it, but why not? When do I think we'll get a 6th season of Harley Quinn? That I certainly don't know. I feel like maybe James Gunn and them want to continue on with it because they like the show and it's got its followers, but I don't know. I don't know how far or how long they want to go on with the show. Maybe they'll go on with the show for as long as they can before they introduce their own Harley Quinn, unless they have their Harley Quinn already. And why am I blanking on people's names today? Who played Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad? Why am I blanking on people's names today? Oh my God, Adam. I think I'm distracted because I'm trying to look up something else all at the same time. Hold on a second. Give me the actress's name in the live chat, y'all. On Harley Quinn. Damn it! Why am I blanking on her name right now? I'm so embarrassed right now, y'all. I'm so sorry. And I'm also trying to look up something here too at the same time. So I'm juggling two things to answer the other portion of this question. Okay. Margot Robbie. Thank you. Margot Robbie. Thank God. Why was I? God damn, Adam. Terrible today, bro. I am curious if Margot Robbie would certainly return. Some elements of Suicide Squad clearly made it into the DCU, so I do wonder if she's one of those aspects that will return. Let me upload this real quick here. Okay. Do you think we'll learn more about the Power Ranger reboot soon? I'm hoping so. I truly am hoping so. I am glad that you brought that up, though, because something did drop this week that I found really fascinating and worth exploring. Jonathan Entwistle, who is about to release his Karate Kid movie this week, I believe, May 30th, if I'm not mistaken, was on social media this week. And he gave some insight in regards to the previous Power Ranger reboot that was supposed to take place. And what he discussed was rather interesting. So I wanted to bring that up. So while I don't have any news on the new reboot that they're talking about that has their showrunners and things like that in place, I do want to talk about Jonathan Entwistle's Power Rangers reboot as details have in fact begun to emerge. I'm gonna bring down this banner too so you guys can kind of read it also. This is, hey Jonathan, regarding your attempted Power Ranger reboot, what could it have been if it had been produced? Would it have been a new take on Mighty Morphin or something new? Additionally, did you intend to adapt unadapted Super Sentai series for Power Rangers when you took the helm of the new era of the franchise? This is what Jonathan Entwistle responded. From as early as 2018, I had created an entire new universe for Power Rangers, kind of a multiverse. It was fashionable back then, he says. I wasn't doing MMPR specifically, but Tommy Oliver was the center of the world. All the mythology was surrounding him being one of the most important people in the universe, because we all know what he would become. So it was basically a time-bending, huge story about stopping Draken from taking power over everything. The TV series had a kind of a cool King Arthur vibe. That was the angle, more mystical, magical to start us off. Jenny Klein, who was writing that show, also came up with a very, very cool idea for sentient colors. But alas, it never went anywhere, which sucks. I would have loved to have made that universe a reality. Somebody else also asked him a question. How far along was your Power Ranger stuff before Hasbro pulled the plug? It seems like the Percy Jackson guys are in talks for it now. What's one word of advice you'd give them? He says, I was working on Power Rangers way back in 2018 when it was with Paramount. I was writing a movie version. Then Hasbro bought E1 and it was all shaken up again. The movie was shelved. And then the TV series became the new focus. I started work on that, mapping out how that could work out with multiple movies, shows, animations. And we worked closely with Netflix on all of that. And then E1 was no more. And the whole concept of the show and movies just got lost in that shuffle. It really sucks because it was such a cool approach, Star Wars level. But I think Hasbro just couldn't get everyone behind the same approach. I think this is really fascinating in regards to what we literally just talked about when it comes to Magic the Gathering, how they got Hasbro and Netflix all on board to have the same vision. But apparently, based off of all the back and forth of acquisitions of companies, releasing companies, new CEOs, people in charge, things clearly just kind of got lost in the shuffle, right? Because he mentions he was working on Power Rangers way back in 2018 when it was at Paramount. And then Hasbro bought E1, and then that got shaken up. And then they decided to turn it from not only just a movie, but to a television series to become the new focus. They had all these plans for this big, expansive universe, but then Entertainment One was no more. And then the whole concept wound up getting lost in the shuffle. And then you got Chris Cox that kind of comes on board, right? Somebody that has a new vision for the project. For the project itself. And now it says, but I think Hasbro just couldn't get everybody behind the same approach. So now you have different visions for what you want to do. And it sounds like it was just a mess behind the scenes over at Hasbro in regards to trying to make this kind of come to life a little bit. So that shows you the importance of making sure everybody has this, shares the same vision with you and wants to create the same thing that you want to do. But it's also fascinating outside of that what Jonathan Entwistle was seemingly trying to create, in the sense of Tommy Oliver was the center of the world. All the mythology was surrounding him being one of the most important people in the universe because we all know what he would become. So it was basically a time-bending, huge story about stopping Draken from taking power over everything. So we would have had an introduction here to Lord Draken finally at some point in time. This TV series had a kind of really cool King Arthur vibe. That was the angle, more mystical, magical to start us off. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really dig this concept. You know, it wasn't necessarily going to be MMPR directly, but I'm kind of under the impression that maybe it was Tommy at the center of it, the team leader. Maybe they would have had new characters involved in here, but Tommy's future would have led to the direction of him eventually becoming Lord Draken. I think even one of Jinsaku's old claims was that, rumor-wise, was that Tommy was eventually going to turn on his team. And maybe that's the idea of like him eventually becoming Lord Draken in that universe. But when he talks about time bending, it also like implies to me that like maybe there was going to be maybe a group of people that were going to go back in time. You know, that notion of like, why did you just kill these people when they were young before before they acquired so much power, sort of thing. I would have been really fascinated to kind of see if that was like, all right, Tommy's the leader of our team, but he's ended up betraying us and he's become something else that that's evil in the sense of Lord Draken. Maybe then we get ourselves a Power Ranger team that then has to go back in time and stop like Tommy from ever becoming Lord Draken or something like that. Like I have no idea, but I personally have always thought that Lord Draken would make a really great villain. You know, we talked about how great something like a Shattered Grid certainly was, comic book wise, and how people were always asking for that concept of maybe some time bending stuff, right? Going back in time and preventing people from becoming who they eventually become, to kind of stop Lord Draken. Like I really dig that idea. Like I really dig that concept. Maybe that's an older concept now. I feel like maybe people have kind of changed their perspective since this was, I don't even remember when the Lord Draken stuff was, 2017, 2018. I have no idea. But back then it was cool to me, and it's still cool to me now. I kind of dig the premise. I know people are like, oh, Tommy is so over. I've seen a lot of people complain about the overusage of Tommy Oliver. But you just can't help that he's an important character. I would have been completely okay with it, but I'm sure some people probably wouldn't have been. So Rob says, looks like Aunt Whistle's vision was too ambitious for Hasbro. It seems like it. It definitely seems like it. And then one more question. If you guys, this is from Blossom, if you guys had a DC or Marvel comic book about you, what would it be about? God, I don't know if my life is that eventful to be a comic book. I really don't know. You know, I was thinking the other day. You said if we had a DC or Marvel comic about you, what would it be about? You know, I found myself in Spider-Man's shoes in a really weird way the other day. I was reading the recent issue of the Amazing Spider-Man 4, and it talked about the idea of the Parker luck, and how it's almost like a curse in the sense that Peter Parker always loses the things that are close to him. You know, he's lost Gwen Stacy, he's lost Mary Jane, he's lost Ben Parker. You know, in the comics at one point in time, he lost May Parker. You know, there's a part of me that I kind of want bad things to stop happening to Peter Parker. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I really would like to see Peter Parker have a child. You know, and I know there's like May Parker out there as Spider-Girl and stuff, but I mean, I'm talking current universe Peter Parker finally either settling down with somebody. It doesn't even have to settle down with somebody, but like whoever his current partner is, having an unplanned pregnancy and them deciding to keep the baby is born, and seeing Peter later in his life have a kid. And I was just thinking, like, man, how relatable would that be for Peter Parker? And I only say that because it's like that's how I would relate, in a sense of me being somebody like 39 pushing 40, you know, having my first kid and being an older parent having to raise that kid. And Peter's been through so much in his life. There is an inherent joy, I think, of having kids, and a love that people don't really understand until they have a kid for themselves, that I would like to see injected into Peter Parker's life, and how vastly different his life changes and becomes as a Peter Parker and a Spider-Man late in his career, now having a kid. And actually having a win for himself in the comic books. And so I guess, like, if I had a comic book about me, it would be me as a superhero coming out of the Bronx, very much like Miles Morales, as a superhero who maybe has always been down on his luck, saves people, but maybe not necessarily the best of luck. And then it would be about like always wanting to have that family, but never getting that family because of things that have gotten in the way of me being a superhero, to finally getting a family in my later half of my superhero life. And that being like the most heroic thing that I could possibly do in regards to just being a good father. That would probably be what my DC or Marvel comic book would certainly be about. And now I found myself projecting that onto Peter Parker at some point in time. I just think it would be so relatable to some people in that regards of just like, again, like humanizing Peter Parker to people. But yeah. That's probably the route that I would go for myself. Marcelino, Michael Caine recently has recently retired, and the reason is because he said that no one would hire a 90-year-old as the main lead, and that Hollywood is only interested in young blood. While he was partially joking, a lot of people took it seriously because it is a serious problem that they've kind of swept under the rug, and they don't want to talk about it more. What are your thoughts? Do you think people should just shut up and about his non-existent problem, or is it a problem that needs more recognition or more recognition, and then Hollywood should hire more seniors in leading roles and not be ageist? I kind of like, do I think it's a problem? I kind of brought this up a little bit too when we talked about Jeremy Renner, in the sense of, Hollywood almost waits until you're either down on your luck, like something bad happens to you, or you become older, to kind of write you out of Hollywood a little bit, So I don't know if it's a problem. I mean, maybe it is a problem. But I mean, I feel like you have older actors that still get roles, but you probably have to be really big names to get roles. Not to say that Michael Caine certainly is, because I still think Michael Caine, if he wanted to get roles, probably could, because there's always going to be role for old people, right? It's not like old people don't exist, but maybe those roles are a little bit limited than what they were. If he's okay with maybe being a supporting character and a cameo, then maybe. But as far as like a lead role, I mean, I think you would probably have to have the stories about, the elderly in that regards to kind of get those roles. And I think those roles are like, those stories maybe just aren't being told as much. I don't know if that's a problem so much, or if Hollywood like purposefully doesn't care for its older actors the way that it does. Maybe it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? I think it might be maybe a combination of both, because I do think there's a world out there where Hollywood, again, when something bad happens to you and they think that you're less than, I'm sure those opportunities do dry up for sure. But I also wonder, what are the scripts like out there for older stars to have leading roles when you're in your 90s? What stories are kind of being told out there? Is it really a push from Hollywood just not to hire you, or is it the idea that those stories just aren't being told anymore? But I think Michael Caine is that good of a role, that good of an actor, and that prominent in Hollywood, that if there was a role out there for an older gentleman, I think Michael Caine would definitely be top 5 choice for a lot of people. So, no, I don't think it's a non-existent problem. I just don't know if it's a problem because it's something that Hollywood is pushing, or it's just a combination of there's just not that many stories being told for them as lead actors anymore. So it might be a little bit of both. Here's how I would do a El Muerto movie. It would be set in its own universe, no MCU. This would be a wrestling drama, film like Creed. Okay. It would be grounded with zero fantastical elements, and there would never be superheroes in this world. Instead, Marvel characters would be interpreted as wrestlers within the universe, such as Captain America being a famous American wrestler, Deadpool being a wrestler who has cancer and is trying to live out the best of his days wrestling because that's the one thing he loves. Magneto would be a wrestler who only fights when the match allows objects to be used. They would always bend a metal before every match to show how strong he is. Ant-Man and the Wasp would be dwarf duo team. Not every character would be interpreted as a wrestler. Any character who was a billionaire would actually be a sponsor. The main story would be El Muerto becomes a wrestler and takes advantage of his heritage, which he's the newest one to take up the mantle. At first, he does it to pay off his debt, but also starts to understand how much his culture and heritage means to so many people that they feel empowering seeing him representing the Latinx community. Some CGI would be used only as stylized, meaning while no character would have powers to be a spectator, they feel so ingrained in the match that they feel like the wrestlers have superpowers. Those bits would only be used in the start of every match and certain moments in the story that thematically makes sense, but never. What do you think? I love it. I love it. I love it. I really dig it. I really dig it. Yeah, I really dig that. I don't know if I would have come up with that. I think that's actually rather brilliant. Like, instead of people having superheroes, like literally just make it a wrestling movie like you would Creed, a drama movie like Creed, and have the superheroes be represented as wrestlers, and have their themes as their wrestling gimmick. I think is fantastic. I could honestly see shots happening of like the point of view switching the children and the audiences and looking at these matches and seeing them through their eyes visualize the action as like a superhero battle, but then it literally cut to like the real world drama aspect of the action in the screen, and it'd be more gritty and down to earth kind of fighting, but the kids or people in the audience, I should say, even view it as this superpowered sort of battle kind of going. I kind of dig that. That's kind of on par with like, not quite like a Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but like the action sequences taking place, and then when you have them fighting, maybe make it look more superpowered and fantastical, at least when you're looking through the point of view and perspective of the people in the matches. But I think that's a really clever way of pulling that off, Marcelino. There's something odd about Facebook that I noticed. Sometimes when you post something, it will say comments on it, but the comments will be invisible, like they were never there. Like, for example, earlier you posted about Rian Johnson making a Star Wars movie, and it said 2 comments, but when I go and look at the comments, there will be 0 comments. Why is that? Sometimes Facebook has this thing where it's like the only post relevant comments. Like sometimes there's like an additional button that you have to push where it'll say like relevant comments, and then you push down the menu bar for it, and then it'll say like all comments or something else. And then sometimes you might have to change that menu bar, and then you can get the opportunity to see the other comments on it. Because I see the other comments on Facebook. But I do think sometimes it gives you that option of what comments actually show up on your tab. So yeah, like for me right now, it doesn't give me the option for the tab on mine, but it does show me them. But yeah, that's, I think, I don't know if it's like a censorship thing in that regards. I don't know if it's a censorship thing or what, or they just don't feel like it's relevant to the subject that's being talked about, so they hide them. And if you want to see them, then yeah. But I have noticed that sometimes it'll show me that there's comments there, like in the little bubble. I'll know that there are comments there, but I don't see anything. And then sometimes I'll look underneath the post and they'll say all relevant comments, and then when I click it, it opens up a menu and shows me like all comments or something else, some other type of comments. And if I click all comments, then they all kind of populate for me. So I don't know, but that does happen sometimes with Facebook, is what I recognize. So yeah, that's all I really know about it though. But that will do it for all of our live viewer questions today. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, for certainly participating and certainly coming through. Always fantastic to talk to each and every one of you about all the topics that are happening in the world of movies and televisions these days. A couple things to look forward to for the rest of the week from us. It's been kind of a crazy week around here, so I haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of outside content outside of just our A+ Hero Report. But I'm going to try and catch some movies this week, so look forward to some movie reviews. I think us around the house, we were not feeling well. Our allergies were really kicking our ass, so just busy trying to take care of everybody around the house. So it really kept me from being able to do other things for the channel. But I'm hoping that everybody's going to be doing a little bit better here this week. So expect some movie reviews. I do think that we have ourselves a new trailer for Fantastic Four that's supposed to be dropping. If not today, then tomorrow. So keep your eyes open for a new trailer for Fantastic Four possibly dropping relatively soon, with like less than 2 months to go for its release. So we may have a trailer review in that regards. Any big news, any big trailers that drop that we find that we want to talk about, we'll probably talk about here with you. I think we did it. I think I did I don't think I did a review for um Predator Killer of Killers trailer. I probably should have, but I'll definitely be mindful. Any big trailers, any big news that drops that seems worth talking about, we'll probably drop some additional content for you guys this week. And again, any other movie trailers that any other movie reviews that we see throughout the week. But then, of course, we'll certainly be back next week for you guys, as always, here live Sunday at 11 a.m. Actually, you know what? Next week, it's Fan Expo Dallas. I actually may not be here next week. We may not have an episode of A Plus Hero Report. We'll see though. If I can get Indy to come back and Stuart, maybe they can do an A Plus Hero Report for you guys next Sunday. But I forgot Fan Expo Dallas kicks off Friday the 30th through Sunday the 1st. So I'm going to be doing a lot of live coverage and recording throughout the weekend. So if you want to follow my live coverage, follow me at A Plus Hero Report, or excuse me, A Plus Opinions, as you guys can see right down here at A Plus Opinions everywhere on social media. We're probably going to be doing like some live snippets from some panels that I end up recording. So they're probably going to be posted on Facebook, maybe even Instagram and Twitter as well. So some panels that I record and attend, I might do like 3 to 5 minute snippets for live for you guys. I may be doing some live reactions from the showroom floor on Facebook, especially, and maybe on Instagram. When I kick my days off to walk around the showroom floor for the first time, give you guys some ideas, some of the cosplays out there, some of the people in attendance and things like that, some of the artist alleys, whatever the case may be. And I'll be doing a lot of recording of panels Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'll probably be editing all throughout the week so that next week, not this week, but next week, you guys will have a lot of panels to certainly like highlights from panels to certainly check out. So yeah, I'm going to be busy next weekend. So I may not be here for A Plus Hero Report. So two things will happen. One, we may not have an A Plus Hero Report next weekend. Or two, I'll be able to get Indy and Stuart to man the ship for Hero Report, and we'll have maybe a small episode for you guys. But regardless, you're definitely going to have a lot of content coming out next weekend and next week also. All right. But that will do it for me here, guys. I hope you guys have an enjoyable rest of your Sunday and your rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.